It's been another troublesome week for the AFL's problem child. Welcome to Carrara. There's a few lines we could go with here. The dew's been burnt off, the dust is yet to settle, all of those things. A new coach, interim at least, is here coaching Gold Coast as they take on St Kilda today. Welcome along, Quentin Hull and the team for Saturday afternoon footy. If you haven't heard the news of the week, you've been living under a rock somewhere or not really all that interested in football, because the headlines have all been about Stuart Dew being jettisoned from the Suns. Stephen King is the interim coach, and Gold Coast, having been thumped by Collingwood here a couple of weeks ago and then torn apart in one quarter by Port Adelaide, have now decided that Stuart Dew as coach is not the way forward. Just who, we wait and see. But as far as their immediate assignment, it's St Kilda at home. The Saints, who are well and truly in this tight race to try and play finals in 2023. The Saints themselves going down to Melbourne by 21 points last week with considerable circumstances working against them, with key injuries at the start of that game. They kicked the first 3 goals, St Kilda, but then the injuries got on top of them, and the Demons won by 21 points. The Saints are 9-7. They start the round inside the top 8 in 6th position. The Suns aren't out of the fight completely, even though they are 14th and 7-9, but if they are to make a surge, it's going to have to start today. Hope you can enjoy the footy with us. Quentin Hull and Michael Price to call the action. Former Melbourne Club champion Jeff White in the experts chair. Zane Bojack down close to the action. There's plenty of footy about today. The game between Collingwood and Fremantle is already underway, and the Pies have kicked the first 3 goals there. Collingwood 3 straight, 18 leading the Dockers 1 behind. Call of that's available on the ABC Listen app, but we'll keep you updated here. And later on today in the National Rugby League, Canterbury, Bankstown and Brisbane start what is a 3-game Saturday in the league. So if you're with us on ABC Radio Gold Coast, we'll keep you up to date with the Doggies and the Bronx. You can always hear that in the Listen app as well. And then you'll head to the Saturday evening and night fixtures between Manly and North Queensland, and the Roosters up against Melbourne. At selection, Ben Long and Elijah Collins coming in for Gold Coast. And Braden Fiorini has somewhat survived the axe. He was omitted from the matchday 22, but he's the sub, which means Jai Farah is dropped, and Lockie Weller is out with continued knee soreness coming back from his ACL. And for the Saints, well, the story has surrounded Max King during the week. Hurt his shoulder early in that game against Melbourne. It was expected he was going to be out for the rest of the season. There's some positivity around that. There's still half a chance he may play later in the year. But King's not here with a shoulder injury. Billings out with a broken thumb. Ross out with a hamstring injury. And Zane Cordy out concussed. So quite a few changes for the Saints. Brad Hill is back from his knee issues. Josh Battle returns from concussion concerns. And there's a new player, Jack Peris, who has some pretty strong sporting pedigree, who's going to make his AFL debut on the Gold Coast today. Michael Price, welcome to you. Always lovely to see Red Sherrins and Saturday afternoon football, and what a week it's been at the Suns. You were very strong during the game against Collingwood, that you thought that may be the last straw to break the camel's back. Well done you.
Oh,
you made that call about...
Did make the call a couple of weeks ago, yeah, and welcome to... if you're listening, but look, I felt bad for Stewie Dew, but it was just apparent that was what was being played out in front of us was very, very uncompetitive, and whether his cards were marked prior to that, they were definitely marked on that night. But look, I get no satisfaction out of that whatsoever, and I'm sure most of the Gold Coast Suns players would have a look at the way they performed in some of those games in important moments for their coach, and if they were playing for him and were agreeing that he should be there, then they didn't show that in certain instances, certainly to the board, and they've made the very heavy decision. But look, they've got an opportunity today to say, okay, the reins have been taken off them a bit. Stephen King's taken over and just said, reset, go out there and play, take a bit of the pressure off yourselves and see what happens. But I think we all know in the AFL world that this is a very ham-fisted change over to an existing available premiership coach. That's inevitably going to happen, but it just got a little ugly very quickly for a man who was very popular.
You're doubling down on your predictions, Pricey.
Sorry, but it's too obvious and a path, but
we'll wait and see.
We'll see what happens. But if there's anybody else out there that is going to take the job, nominate them now, because I outside of Chris Scott, I don't know.
We're always going to be playing with a pair of Kings today, so it seems.
All true.
Ben King, but not his brother. Max is not playing. Enter Stephen King in that regard. Jeff White, welcome to you. There is a big story around St Kilda's season and whether or not they can come here and prove to the rest of the competition that they deserve a spot in the bottom part of the 8. That's the narrative around the Saints, which we won't ignore, but all the headlines have been about Stuart Dew's sacking. What are your thoughts? How are you?
Yeah, good to be here. I think Pricey hit the nail on the head there with the Collingwood game. It was so disappointing to see, and you could see that a lot of body language from the Suns. This wasn't there, and you want to know whether that sort of filtered from the coach down. So, but from the Saints' perspective, watched them last week against the D's. They were very competitive early. Obviously, got a few injuries early, but our backline chewed them apart. And
Our being Melbourne,
sorry, but we were able to get that intercept mark, and it was purely because the Saints they weren't hitting those lead-up players. So hopefully they can address that. They have addressed that during the week and put that in place today.
Now, I know the traffic on the M1's been a bit tough. I'm wondering whether we should throw to him out of breath and ask him for a traffic report, or do the conditions with Zane first. You up for this, Acker? Jason Ackermanis, Brownlow medalist, has arrived. I am going to do this to you, Acker. It took me a bit longer to get down the highway.
Oh, unbelievable.
Welcome to you 3 minutes into the broadcast.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry about that. I've done some amazing drives on the golf course, but not as good as my lane hopping to get here reasonably before the game. Hello to Price here and White, and of course you, Quentin. No, it's quite amazing how Queensland's can't drive on a Saturday. Anyway, we're here.
I'll give you a moment to compose your thoughts. Down to Zane Bojack on the boundary. Acker's made it. Zano, I know you and I took an extra 20 minutes or so getting here. How are you?
Oh, yes, the M1. It's, on a weekend it can be pretty tough. Looking forward to this one, Q. 22 degrees. It's overcast. Look, it's a bit patchy, the surface, particularly in front of the interchange gates, but looking forward to this one. Both sides lost 3 of their last 4, and be interesting to see if Stephen King can transfer his winning the VFL and the AFL in the same week into his coaching prowess as a Week 1 interim coach.
Let's go. Here's Michael Price.
Jared Witts with the opening tap out. It's been jumped on there by Sinclair. He's tackled immediately by Anderson. Lets loose the ball. It's with the Saints again. Wanganeen Miller can't pick it up. Holman can. Handball in there to Rao. Long kick towards the goal square. Over the head there of Casbolt. Nicely taken in defence by Dougal Howard.
2 Wagga connections. Dougal Howard from Wagga. Levi Casbolt married to a Wagga girl. There you go, Riverina reference in the first minute, a new world record. As the Saints are in the back pocket, almost mucked it up. Wilkie has the ball for St Kilda. Hand passes to the left half bank flank, and Wanganeen Miller receives kicks around the boundary line. Burns takes the mark for the Saints.
This is a good reaction from the umpire.
Yeah, he nearly got
his head taken off.
Chips in field to Webster. St Kilda running to the big screen to the left of your radio dial. Short pass to Sinclair. And the Saints taking a moment or two to work their way forward here. Quick tips, Jeff.
Suns.
Acker?
Suns.
Okay, Sinclair kicks to a contest on the wing, and Filippo leaps, takes the mark, plays on quickly with a hand pass to Burns. Runs the boundary, hands it to Wanganeen Miller, hands it to Steele. 60 out at left half forward near the boundary. Uses his left boot to kick the Saints into the attack for the first time today. Andrew fists the pack for the Suns. Rode by Gresham, but his hand pass is out of play. We'll see a boundary throw in. No score early on.
Brad Hill's going to be a good inclusion for him as well. After the lack of connection going forward last week.
He just runs all day, Brad Hill.
Oh, he's unbelievable.
Exceptional runner.
Throw in left forward pocket for the Saints. Witts in front position, took the ball, was tackled immediately. Ball spills to his feet. Rao flips it out. It's with Atkins. The outside of the left boot's picked up by King. Just a right half back for the Suns. Handball back to Ellis. That's a beautifully delivered kick to the wing to find Ainsworth. He tries to measure a pass. He actually lucky to hit the right foot. It was out of bounds on the full, and it'll be taken by the Saints. Wanganeen Miller takes it back to Wilkie.
Kicks
go
it
around the other
backwards.
side here.
Yeah, to Webster. They're looking for the horseshoe, Acker, but the Suns are trying to block that up. Hill's got it. Still inside defensive 50. kicks to the right half-back flank and finds the man presenting in Battle. Marks plays on, kicks to the outer wing, double grabber marked by Sharman. Cooper Sharman between wing and right half forward for St Kilda. Called to play on, lowering pass to half forward, was looking for Wood but intercepted by Swallow of Gold Coast, and the Suns veteran takes the defensive mark, chips to his co-captain. Well, as in he's not the co-captain anymore, but Touk Miller is co-captain along with Jared Witts. Kicks from half back towards half forward. King crashes the pack, can't take the mark. We have Ben, no Max today, just the Suns King, rowed by Ainsworth, who chips in field, and it's marked by Rao.
So Matt Rao plays on immediately. The handball back to Swallow. Long kick towards the top of the square. Oh, big pack and a big fly, Lukosius. What a clunk in the left forward pocket. He'll have a shot on a slight angle to the left. He's only 20 metres out.
I'm going to say it. I think it's in range for him. Geez, he'll kick it over the roof here. But that's good ball movement from both teams. A little bit fumbly at times, but just that connection going inside forward 50. But great mark from Lukosius.
Great pack mark, some good elevation and some nice strong hands from Jack Lukosius. He's going to curl it around with the right foot. He squeezed it in. He's opened the scoring for the Suns against the Saints. One straight goal, the Saints yet to score. And we've played 3 minutes 40 of the first quarter here on Grandstand AFL.
It's a great grab. Looked like he went a bit early, but he was able to hold himself up on the shoulders and take a very strong contested mark. But just talking about the Saints, you can see that they're trying to lower their eyes, or do I say lower your vision?
You say it the way you'd like, Jeff.
Lower your eyes. That's the one. Going forward, and they got cut off by the Suns, but you can see that that's been what they've spoken about during the week.
Why have you both tipped the Suns? Acker, I'll start with you.
I reckon 90% of the time the team that loses the coach wins.
So you're going on the sack the coach, win the game philosophy?
Yeah, it happens all the time. They're not playing that bad, and they're hard to beat at home, the Suns.
And I think just the shackles are off, boys. Let's just go for it, take a risk. I think they were a bit confined and they were worried about making mistakes. I reckon Kingy's just got them say, just take it on.
Centre bounce, Witts clean possession, no great clearing kick. Miller picks it up though, hands it back to Witts, hands it on to Anderson. Clearance Suns, it's a high ball to half forward, 2-on-2. King crashes the pack, rowed by Holman of the Suns, hands it to Rowell, hand pass intercepted. Webster there for the Saints, hands to Wilkie, hands through Battle, gives to Wanganeen Millerer at left half back, he chips it to Hill, has space forward of the wing, plays on, gets in trouble, tried to give it to Jones, lost it, picked up by Powell of the Suns, his hand pass turned over, back to Hill, hand pass backward too hot for Wanganeen Millerer, so he cleans up the mess that he made, this Hill, and then kicks it to Holman. Brad Hill involved about 3 or 4 times there to no great effect. Holman kicks infield, marked by Witt, 60 out. Kicks the Suns to full forward. Howard crunches the pack, fits it clear for St Kilda. Rove by Burns. Hand pass to the boundary line, doesn't find a teammate. Humphrey Rove for the Suns. Under pressure, hands to Ellis. Gee, it's hot early here. Hands it to Holman, hands it to Powell. Was out of play as he snapped it to the goal mouth.
Oh, don't know about that.
Boundary throw in, right half forward. Fast track, and these two teams showing the early energy of this fixture. A goal to the Suns. Zane on the boundary.
Yes, and look at him striding out already. Young 19-year-old Jack Paris making his debut in the AFL, son of Nova, and of course the other runner in Daniel Bateman, the lat Daniel Bateman. So great to see him out there for St Kilda.
Throw in on the arc of 50. It's won by the Saints. Marshall gets it to his foot. It's caught by Atkins. He tries to get past a couple, and he has been denied. Good tackling and holding the ball. It'll be with the Saints to the run of Hill. Gave the handball off to Zach Jones. Confronted. The sidestep. Beautiful. The handball to the run of Butler. His handball speculating. It went and found his teammate in Filippo, who tried to give it back. It went over the boundary line with the aid of Sam Collins from the Suns right in front of the grandstand commentary box. We'll get a throw in.
Very handball happy here at the moment. The Saints trying to get it through.
Just going to say the same thing. And I think that's the message, that last week they were too busy. When they got out, they just bombed it. So they're trying to finesse it too much at the moment.
Boundary throwing just forward of the wing for St Kilda. Jones rose but is tackled immediately by Swallow. So another stoppage. About to hit quarter time at the MCG. Collingwood taking on Fremantle. Magpies 4-1-25 to the Dockers 3-2-20. Stoppage clearance here, Suns, defensive side of the wing. Anderson hands it to Atkins. Rush, kick to the wing over the head of Lukosius. Stolen by Battle, but Lukosius tackles him. And Battle's hand pass turned over. Went to Rowell of the Suns. Kicks to half forward, marked by Ainsworth, too far out. 65 from goal. Short pass at the bootlaces of Holman, couldn't pick up, so Ainsworth cleans up the mess. Under pressure, hand pass infield to Ellis, shrugs the tackle of Hill, hands it back to Ainsworth on the boundary. 45 out, doesn't go for goal, kicks to the goal mouth. Casbolt pushes men out of the way to try and get to it. It's punched into the behind post. But, yeah, the ump saw Levi's ungainly tactics there. Free kick against Casbolt, no score. Saints with it at fullback.
And they play on quickly. Wilkie gets the handball out there to Windhager. And his little chip pass is taken just outside the arc of 50 by Steele. Gets out to the wing. Paris, involved early in his career, back to Windhager. His handball looping out towards the outer wing. Sharman takes it over the boundary line on the Nerang River wing and will get a throw in, and every player on the paddock is on that side of the ground, on the other side of the centre circle, so drifting with the flight of the ball as well. Marshall taps it down to Zach Jones. He's taken semi without it. Umpire says play on. Will Powell for the Suns. Handball Wits, handball out to David Swallow, outside of the right shoe to the arc of 50, off the hands of King. Windhager can't take it. Humphrey went in, got the ball, extracted it, kicked it to the lead of Lukosius. He's spoiled. Well done to Ellis, who roved. Handball to King, but a brilliant smother coming up there from Stocker. Handball now to Butler. Butler's just going to be a little bit too casual about it. His kick semi-smothered, picked up by Anderson going back inside 50. Zach Jones with the spoil. It lands with Ellis. His kick finally finds Atkins. It's attritional down there, but it's a very congested game of footy, and Rory Atkins is going to have a shot at goal. 40 out, but he's on a very tight angle to the right.
I reckon Lukosius is a bit unlucky. He's been out a couple of times. He just dropped that one, but he has been by himself getting free with lots of space. So they're looking quite sharp going forward, the Suns. Wilkie, how good's his year been? He's been their best player all year, Wilkie.
So Rory Atkins, 101 games with the Adelaide Crows. Hasn't kicked a goal this year for the Suns.
What name is Rory?
Leans back on this one with the left foot. It's a nice kick from Rory Atkins. Gets the Suns second here at Carrara and celebrates his 50th AFL goal in the process. He's got 50 goals, 41 for the career. 2 goals straight to the Suns. The Saints yet to score. 9.5 gone, first term, ABC Sport.
I tell you, Whitey, that's a great goal. It's going right to left. Just so you know, my brother's name is Rory. But good goal.
So that's where that joke came from, Jason.
Yes.
Okay.
Hello
to Rory.
Rory McIlroy.
Yeah, Rory. The great Rory's up there in Harvey Bay policing as he does. I'm not sure what else he's doing, but a good goal. Good goal. Nice kick. A bit more curve than Tiger Woods' slice, but
Geez, that contested footy from Humphrey at centre forward was outstanding, wasn't it? Just
any chance the Saints could kick it forward?
Oh, that would be good.
At the moment, they've been hand passing forward and kicking across.
Well, there was 5 or 6 hand passes and 1 kick on the far wing there, and they got nowhere.
I'll change it at quarter time.
8 forwards, 50s to 2.
Centre bounce, 2 goals to the Suns, none to the Saints. Clearance for Caminiti, hand pass through Sinclair, picked up by Miller of the Suns. Hand pass to half forward through Flanders. His hand pass looking for Holman, stolen though by the Saints. Stocker got a hand pass back to Howard, clearing kick, goes to the wing but Long first to meet it on the bounce for the Suns. Hands it to Miller, rides a tackle, hands it backwards to Anderson from the wing. High kick to full forward, big pack roving Flanders. Grubler, Hidley ho into the post from Sam Flanders.
Good kick.
2-1, 13 to nothing. Suns lead it through 11 minutes.
Couldn't give that a full-blooded kick, so he just dribbled on the ground, nearly got in. Bit unlucky there.
So St Kilda bring the ball back in, yet to offer a shot, literally, after 11 minutes of the first term on Grandstand AFL. They bring it back in from fullback. That's Wilkie with a long kick, just short of centre wing. McAndrew is the flyer for the Suns. Roving it there for the Saints was Paris. He got the handball out. Now Zach Jones has it. He's bumped off the kick. McAndrew has another chance. Paris is on top of him, holding the ball underneath him. It could be a holding the ball decision. No, the umpire says we'll ball it up on the outer side. It's just not a breath of wind really here at Carrara. The big flag at the big scoreboard end just limp as the ball goes forward from the clearance. It's Noah Anderson. Long inside 50, Lukosius in front. Oh, he dropped what he might have had, took it too casually. Wilkie was out of the contest. Now the ball hits ground level. It comes through to Anderson, who has a snap and kicks another one for the Suns. 3-1-19 to the Saints, yet to offer a score. 12 gone, first term. Grandstand AFL with your experts Jeff White and Jason Ackermanis.
A lot of it's starting too with the loose ball gets. When the Suns pick up the ball, they feel like they have all this pressure around them. That's forcing them to do these hand passes and not being able to get out. So the pressure from the Suns is really good, and it's a good balance, Acca. It's a forward and behind and on the sides. They're not overcommitting. They're actually being balanced, and what they're doing is they're cutting off the exits that St Kilda's trying to get at the moment.
I noticed there, Ross Lyon would be pretty disappointed coming out the front of the stoppage. He loves getting numbers behind the ball. That said, if you're looking at Gold Coast Sun, they are outnumbering them behind the ball. They're working a bit harder. So the Saints need to pick up, need to get on the boot, need to find some marking options up forward.
Jason Ackermanis and Jeff White are your experts on this Saturday of Grandstand AFL at Carrara. Centre bounce, Casbolt's in the middle now, wins the tap for the Suns. Miller goes without it at ground level though. Rode by Filippo of the Saints. Hands it to Windhager, kick to the forward line. Everyone got excited about Mason Wood getting up. Got a big hand, couldn't take the mark, and then copped a whack on the back of the head for his troubles. Ump says play on. Humphrey's got it at half back for the Suns. Hands to McPherson, tackled by Perris. Hand pass comes free. Ball to be won. Left half forward for St Kilda. Right half back for the Suns. Butler replies a tackle to lock it up. Who's underneath all of that? It's a ball up. I think it's Powell who's coming up. Yeah, Butler on Powell. Ball up. Mason Wood got high almost as Q1, but did not take the grab. Casbolt taps down, but straight to Crouch of the Saints. Hands it to Sinclair. Rush kick to full forward for St Kilda. In front, Collins there to bring it to ground. He robes his own crumb as the Suns defender. Hands it off to Andrew. Rush clearing kick. Brilliantly gathered by Humphrey on the bounce at right half forward. Plays on with a kick to the wing into the space. Oya charging to meet it. Couldn't pick it up. Crashes into his opponent. Ball comes free. Windhager's hand pass though is poor. Stolen by Holman of the Suns. Kicks to half forward. Flanders flies. Can't mark. Howard Rose for the Saints. Hands it back to Wilkie. And he'll calmly slot it to Battle with a chip pass. Battle marks at left half back.
He handballs onto Windhager. Wants to go low. He chips a pass to Sharman. Didn't give him any chance. Sorry, it was Filippo. Didn't give him any chance whatsoever, and he had to pick it up around his ankles. He's tackled over the interchange gates for a throw-in.
Second term underway at the MCG. Collingwood 4-1-25. Fremantle 3-2-20. We'll keep you up to date. If you want to hear it, you can make that choice through the ABC Listen app.
Meanwhile, it's the Suns by 19 points early in the first quarter as clearance comes to Rao. Handball to Humphrey. He's turned it over, though. Picked up by Jack Steele. Gets through the tackle. Marshall's handball couldn't quite find a target. Now it lands in the arms of Zach Jones. He promotes it forward. McAndrew can't pick it up. Butler with him for the Saints. Enter Will Powell. Scrappy at ground level. Owens goes in. Tackled there by Matt Rao. Ball underneath him, as the umpire says. Will come in and ball it up just between wing and left half forward for the Saints.
Just keep a look on Zach Jones. He's hobbling out there. He's got a problem with his back.
Okay, he couldn't get to that stoppage zone, you're right. Clearance for Miller at right half back for the Suns. Kicks to a 2-on-2. Lukosius fists it down, but rode by Battle. Hands to Windhager. Hands to Howard under pressure. Hand pass came free, went back and got it. Neuer tackles him. Ump says ball up.
Geez, that forward pressure's been amazing.
Holman
and Holman as well. Like just one percenters.
It's amazing you said that. I reckon it's Holman who's done the damage to Zach Jones in a bump earlier. Perfectly legal bump, but he came off second best, Zach Jones, as the Saints have it at left half back. Hill, typical dash. A lovely pass to Mason Wood on the lead. Just short of centre wing in front of the interchange gates.
He's coming off now, Jones. He can't move.
There was about 10 minutes ago. They clashed just on centre wing here, hip to hip. Long kick, and that's a really good contested mark. Will Powell floated across the front of the pack and took it at right half back for the Suns. He immediately is looking to go inboard. Plenty of numbers there, but the Saints have set up in front of him. He bites off the 45-degree kick to Ben Long, just on the edge of the corridor, who goes more central to Darcy McPherson. Now they're out with Atkins.
Hand pass received near the bullseye. Hands to Flanders. Rush kick to half forward. Bounces in front of Casbolt. The big fella gathers on 50. Tries a short pass rather than a big long goal attempt. He's missed the target. Sinclair takes the grab. Sort of perhaps not the one wood for Levi Casbolt there. The cute pass rather than the swivel and shoot from 50. Saints have got it. And Wood receives the hand pass, short of the wing, kicks in field. Windhager felt the heat of Collins coming, dropped the mark, got a free kick. Perhaps a little lucky for Marcus Windhager, the second-year Saint. 3-1 to the Suns. St Kilda yet to score. Windhager from the wing, kicks to half forward and a mark from Cooper Sharman. flying at the back of the pack.
What a grab. What a jump. Good timing too. Just got a little ride. Whether he can keep the goal or not from this distance, what's he about? Going to kick on the 50, 45 degree angle, but that's better from the Saints.
And that breeze is now just picking up a little bit out of the north, so Sharman will be kicking into it. Collins, who was the step ladder, he's man on the mark now, about 40 from goal. Saints haven't scored yet. We're 17 and a half minutes into the game. Sharman with his right. It's across the face and out of bounds on the full. Free kick to Gold Coast in the left back pocket. Zach Jones, the concern for the Saints, Zane.
He's gone into the dressing room queue. I think it's his right hip that's the problem. He tried to get some treatment on it. He just said, no, I've got to go in. So don't know what they're going to do, but they're going to try and get him back out there somehow.
Well, the Suns have the ball at half back now, and they're picking their way through the Saints' defence with kicking. Goes out to Atkins, just short of centre wing on the outer side. Saints have set up and drifted across to that side of the ground, so he's going to have to go reasonably long down the line. That was a bit too easy. The lead was from Swallow. He pinpointed him just beyond centre wing. Swallow wheeled around onto the right. Casbolt in the front of the pack. King at the back. Off his hands. It went through to Ainsworth. Handball to Noah Anderson. Tackled and the ball spilled. Should have been pinged. Lands with the Saints. Sinclair with the magnificent mullet gets over to Wanganeen Millerer. He gets it onto the right shoe and misses Owens with the ball. It skids off the Carrara turf over the boundary line. Will get a throw in.
Their two forwards just need to work a little bit better. They keep jumping into each other and on each other, the King and Casbolt. Do they get that right? They'll have a clean run at it.
Well, you've got three really good leaping marking targets there with
Lukosius as well.
Casbolt, Lukosius and King. Boundary throw in. Suns lead 3-1 to nothing. Clearance Saints from this throw in on the outer side. Burns, boundary side, rushes a kick towards half forward. Marked by Sharman. Just fell in his hand. 60 from goal, kicks it to half forward, he'll the target. Humphrey arrives to spoil. He is a fine young player. Raves his own crumb for the Suns, hands it off to Flanders. Kick to right half back, marked by Ainsworth. If Humphrey was playing for a better performing team in front of more eyes, he would be much higher up the rising star thoughts, in my humble opinion.
Sometimes it's tough being off Broadway, as you put it, Q. As McPherson has it just short of centre wing on the commentary box side. Very stagnant, so he goes to right half forward. King, the leader, fisted away there by Wilkie again. It's Rowe front and square by Swallow. He kicks it to the arc of 50. Howard versus Casbolt. Good contest. Well done, Howard. Went out through Steele, the hands, and then a kick to centre wing, cut off again by Darcy McPherson. He's got a runner in Powell. Goes through the traffic. The handball goes back to Powell. Now he's going to kick it into the pocket. Casbolt's going to be the man with the fly. Roving Flanders, and at the back, Dougal Howard's dropped it onto his shoe as he kicked it out of bounds on the full. No, he made it look not deliberate enough, and the umpire's going to throw it in the right forward pocket right next to the behind post.
I'm just watching Holman's work rate inside forward 50. He's caused 2 errors from the Saints coming back out of our back 50 just by the sheer pressure that he's putting on at the moment.
16 inside 50s to 5 for the Suns. Boundary throw in. Beautiful tap to the back for Anderson. That was from Witts. Anderson doesn't kick the right part of the ball trying to hook it around. It goes to the opposite pocket. Casbolt taps it to the advantage of... Who was that? That was Hollins. Elijah Hollins. It's right back in the team. Took a moment to just work out who it was. He's chipped it to Rowell, and Rowell takes the mark.
Coached against his dad in the Ovens and Murray.
Yeah.
From
Wodonga.
2 boys in there. That's good. He's got a bit of hair going on there.
I saw the 6 and I thought, no, that's not Alex Davies. He's got similar hair. Hollins back in the team. Rowell runs to 50. Has a high kick on goal. Has it got the journey? Not quite. Right to the goal line and tapped through for a point. Gold Coast's lead is 20. 3-2 to nothing. And we've played 21 minutes on Grandstand AFL at Carrara. Quentin Hull, Michael Price, Jeff White, Jason Ackermanis and Zane Bojack, your company.
Straight down the middle from fullback. And that is a very effective way of doing it. Nicely taken by Josh Battle, who went straight down the middle again, just beyond centre to find Gresham. Now it's open for the Saints. Right half forward. Butler, the service beautiful. From 45 to the top of the square. It's fisted away by Collins. Chance for the Saints, roving, and no. Owens couldn't get his toe to it as it went towards the behind line. It's through for the Saints' first score of the day. It's a behind. 20 plays 1, 19 points the margin in favour of the Suns.
McPherson kicks, setting Ellis a target on defensive 50. Spoiled by Wood. They battle on at ground level. Ball comes free. Atkins makes a tackle on young Owens, another who's high in the thought process of the rising star. We'll see a boundary throw in on attacking 50 for St Kilda. Suns with the jump here. 19 points the lead. Gorgeous afternoon for footy. Bit of cloud around to just ensure it's not too hot. Witts does the palm down for Rowell, tackled by Crouch. And that too tangled to turf. No prize as the ump ball up. It's almost felt a little bit like a proper footy day down south. It was coolish this morning.
They've got a blood rule back behind play.
Is that rookie? No.
Dougal Howard.
Yeah.
I think he's got a nose.
Blood nose. Zane, what can you tell us?
Yeah, blood's pouring down his face. He's coming off now, the big fella, and he's being replaced by Josh Battle. But, he's trying to stop the blood, but he's failing, so he's going to have to get the tissues, I think, when he gets to the medicos.
Okay, so now play back underway. Ball up left half forward for St Kilda. Nice tap down from Marshall, looking for a rover, but Sun's too good at the cold face. Anderson comes through. Rush kick to the wing, falls into the lap of Holman. Marks plays on immediately with a hand pass to Ellis. Chips it to half forward, bounced in front of Lukosius, gathered. Hand pass while being tackled, comes off. Ellis hands it on to Flanders. Rush kick inside 50, and the Saints in the hole. Mark taken by Stocker, the ex-Blue, who relieves in a time of need for St Kilda. And that's now 17 inside 50s to 6 for Gold Coast.
Now Stocker kicks towards the commentary wing. Good fly, good contest from Caminiti, brought it to ground. Owens smothered by Atkins, but then he regained it. His floating mongrel goes inside 50, gathered by Gresham. He lowers his vision and tries to find somebody. Butler tackled off the ball. Suns with numbers. McAndrew. Then Darcy McPherson at pace. Hit the ball and gathered and then delivered a beautiful pass to Brandon Ellis. That's why you heard that applause from the Suns fans. Ellis takes his time and chips one to Sam Flanders. 70 from goal at right half back. And they're saying there's 24 minutes gone to the first term, so we'll just calm down. Flanders with his right leg against the boundary. Barely the required distance. Back to Ellis, who again puts his hands up to calm everybody down.
Oh, there's still 2.5 minutes to go, but they're just taking a little bit of pace off the game. Control it a bit more.
Ellis with a kick to a pack on the wing. Off hands, and it rolls out of play.
I like that the Suns are getting their numbers back. They're when they see the turnover, they're rushing back. They're creating numbers to get behind the ball and support the back line.
You also got Hill on Ellis. That'll be a good battle because they both can run. They're not anywhere near each other at this stoppage, but that's a good matchup.
Yeah, they're sort of the attacking player, defensive side, so to speak. Witts taps it in that direction. It goes to Atkins, hands it back to Witts. Suns ball, hands to Swallow, kick from the wing, again to half forward, 2-on-1 Saints. Sinclair takes the mark as Webster was engaging with Holman, and Billy Ray Sinclair takes it for the Saints. Chips it to half-back, marked by Millerer. Hand passes to the running Webster. Webster kicks wide. Butler's the target, takes the grab. You like that one, Acker?
Oh, that was a good one. Billy Ray. Love Billy Ray.
I'm going to use that until he changes his hairdo. He looks exactly like that. Kick to half-forward, Marshall marks. Hands it on to Crouch. Kick to the pocket. Couple for Caminiti to beat, and he takes the chest mark. He was engaged one-on-one with Collins. Long was close to him as well, and Caminiti takes the grab.
Better movement there from the Saints. Well, they're able to have some spread. So when they're spreading to the wing, they allow their teammates to come through a la Marshall beyond that 45. So running to the space that they create when they spread out.
Hard in the right forward pocket. Opting for the right foot banana kick in Queensland. Too near for everything to score, at least. Out of bounds on the full in the same pocket. So he sliced that off too acutely. And the inbound from the Suns, who lead it by 19 points, 3-2-20 to 1 behind, 26 played first term.
It's with McAndrew in the right back pocket. He measures a beautiful kick to the lead of Holman. That was delightful, wasn't it?
Sensational running from Holman, though. He was at centre-half back when they commenced that chain of the turnover.
He's a heart and soul player, is Nick Holman. Wheels around onto the left, kicks long in the Witts and Ben King direction. King actually got it down and Witts roved it. Handball out to Flanders. Long kick bounces towards Casbolt. He sort of semi-smothers it. It stays inboard. Windhager. Handball now Gets them out of trouble. Will they get it out of trouble? They certainly did. It was with Webster. He kicks it towards the commentary wing, but it's a mongrel of a kick. Ben Long. His central kick is cut off by Gresham. Lucky not to be 50 there as he wanted to play on by Ballard. Gresham now looks straight inside 50. It's a 3-on-1. Clever play. He found Butler short, who looked inboard. McAndrew with the spoil, gathered his own spoil. Semi-smothered as he goes towards the 50. Ellis versus Paris is good, and he did well. Got it to Rowell, and they're back inboard, the Suns with Flanders.
On the edge of the centre square, kicked it to an open forward line just as the siren sounds to end the first quarter.
Everyone on their hands and knees. Every player.
Yep,
look at them.
They're gassed.
They're gassed in that first quarter.
It's hot out there.
It was hectic stuff too. There was a fair bit of energy in the contest, as you'd expect in any AFL game, but particularly in a week where the hosts have sacked their coach. The visitors need to get a valuable 4 points on the road to stay right in the finals hunt, but it's Gold Coast with the only 3 goals of the opening term and a 19-point lead at quarter time. Lukosius, Atkins and Anderson kicking the goals for the Suns, and the Saints with just the 1 point. There were 20 inside 50s to 9 in favour of Gold Coast in that first term. At the moment, we're midway second to the MCG. Collingwood taking on Fremantle. Magpies 8-1-49, leading the Dockers 4-26. In the National Rugby League today, it's Canterbury, Bankstown and Brisbane getting underway in about 20 minutes just before network commitment. Zane?
Yeah, positive signs for Zach Jones. He's actually run back out on the turf there, and he's talking to one of the physios. I think he's going to be right to continue. I thought that was perhaps not a big chance, Q, but looking positive for St Kilda.
Good news. Zane Bojak down on the boundary. Hope you're enjoying your Saturday of footy with us on ABC Sport with Grandstand AFL.
Protecting our planet.
Breaking down barriers.
Supporting new migrants and refugees.
Lending a helping hand.
These are some of the ways
we became Australians of the Year.
The Australian of the Year awards are nominated by you.
So come on, reflect, respect
and celebrate
Australians who are making a real difference.
Nominate them now at australianoftheyear.org.au.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
So Matt Rowell plays on immediately. The handball back to Swallow. Long kick towards the top of the square. Oh, big pack and a big fly, Lukosius. What a clunk in the left forward pocket. He'll have a shot. He's going to curl it around with the right foot. He squeezed it in. He's opened the scoring for the Suns against the Saints. Zach Jones with the spoil. It lands with Ellis. His kick finally finds Atkins. It's attritional down there, but it's a very congested game of footy. And Rory Atkins is going to have a shot at goal. 40 out, but he's on a very tight angle to the right. Leans back on this one with the left foot. It's a nice kick from Rory Atkins. Gets the Suns second here at Carrara.
Just keep a look on Zach Jones. He's hobbling out there. He's got a problem with his back.
He's coming off now, Jones. He can't move.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
And now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
So call it a response to the week or just a good start in a game of footy on a Saturday afternoon where the Suns and Saints still fighting to stay in the fight for the finals. Saints a little closer to that fight actually inside the 8 as we speak. Welcome back to Carrara. Quentin Hull and the team about to pick through the first half an hour, which saw Gold Coast kick 3-2 to St Kilda's 1 behind. Former D's ruckman Jeff White to start the assessment of the first term of footy.
They just came to play the Suns. They had so much energy, and particularly the half-forward line, the Holmans, even Swallow coming up. Humphreys was really energetic. Noah Anderson. They just had a lot of pressure around the ball, so it was forcing the Saints to actually hand pass. And showing that actually that last play, there was so much pressure on the forward line. The Saints got the ball, they bombed it out, and Ben Long was actually able to mark it uncontested. Didn't get the switch inside the middle, but you can see what they're trying to do, the Suns. They've got so much energy, putting so much pressure on the Saints, forcing them to make skill errors when they normally wouldn't. They're pretty efficient, the Saints. They've been like that all year, but there's a lot of pressure that they're putting on at the moment, hence the reason why being able to get those turnovers halfway particularly on the wing, being able to go back inside forward 50 so many times.
Jason Ackermanis.
I thought that I think the Saints will improve. The way that they're moving the ball, they can certainly fix that up. A lot of handballs, they go out, they come in. They've got guys running. Ross Lyon loves to get numbers behind the ball and then bitch on the counter. Hence why they were so hard to score against early in the year. But opposition are getting better. And you saw at quarter time, as Whitey mentioned on the call, they were a little gassed. The Suns will be used to this heat. It is about 24 degrees out there. The Saints, though, can they hold up that momentum? But Ross Lyon, if he's not saying, boys, what are we doing? We've just got to hit that target. And some of their ball movement, the Saints, was exquisite coming out of the back line. If they can do that a little bit more, they'll get more inside 50s and have more shots.
I'd love your thoughts on it, Jeff and Acker. Long-time footy watchers as you are, and guys that played at Docklands. I'm always so intrigued about teams that play at Docklands and they try and do stuff that works at Docklands but doesn't work anywhere else. Is that a thing at all, or can you shut that conversation that I've got going in my head? The Saints are trying to play Docklands footy at an outside venue.
Yeah, well, you can. See, Docklands, the ball travels faster through the air. There's less air. The indoor stadium is quite amazing compared to, say, the MCG, and certainly up here with the humidity. I think you've got to run a lot more straight lines at Docklands because the ground's just not good enough. Here, as you'll see, the agility and the ability underfoot is so much harder.
And it's that handball and run. It seems like such a high-risk, high-reward strategy, but it has to be so... There's no perfection in the connection, so to speak. It comes unstuck.
But what's happening, Q, is their hand passes are really short. They're not out. They're not getting some spread.
Which works inside.
In a confined area.
But it doesn't work
but there's no...
at other grounds.
And there's no wind here today either. There was a little bit there when he was kicking for goal. One of the Saints players having to kick goal, but they've got to get a bit of width. But what's happening is they're hand passing so closely, it's so easy for the Suns to put pressure on behind and put pressure on the side to actually force the error.
Ellis had 19 touches in the first term for Gold Coast. Rowell 9, Flanders 9. Leading the way for St Kilda, Josh Battle with 11. 9 for Brad Crouch and 8 for Nasar Wanganeen Millera. Outside of the 19-point lead for Gold Coast, that big stat is 20-9. Plus 11 in the inside 50 for the Suns. Michael Price, second term.
Back into the middle. Jared Witts promotes it forward. Suns immediately into attack. Flanders at the front of the contest. Kicks it to the top of the square. Wilkie. Good defensive mark. Once again, he outpointed Ben King and took the mark in the left back pocket.
Other stat I should have picked up. It's now 12-6 clearances to Gold Coast. It was 11-6 until that extra. As Wilkie clears from the back pocket for the Saints to a pack. No mark on the left half back flank. Rove by Crouch on hands and knees though for the Saints. Hand pass ends up with Steele kicking a high ball to the wing. Caminiti in the contest couldn't mark Rove by Hollands of the Suns. Hand pass through Andrew. Hands to Atkins. Rush kick back to half forward for Gold Coast. Battle thumps it away from Lukosius, but Hollands roves on the wing. Left, one step on the left. Bangs it with his right into row 2. Out in the Nerang Riverside. Out of bounds on the full. Free kick St Kilda at left half back. Jimmy Webster to take it for the Saints.
Well, the Bearettes used to be over there.
The Bearettes.
Yeah,
oh,
the Bearettes?
Goodness gracious. That you're taking us back in time to the late 90s when the Brisbane Bears played at Carrara.
Is that really the Bearettes position?
The Bearettes was over there, just near where we went out in the full.
This was a demandable stand too, as Burns attacks the ball hard at left half back for the Saints, but he had an opposition in power, took it over the boundary line, will get a throw in.
Were they the stablemate of the Swanettes?
And
who are the more famous of the Ets in the northern states?
Yeah, we had to do that to get the crowds in, but
the SCG. Boundary throw in, Steele Rose for St Kilda right half back. Rush kick to the wing. Couple of Saints there almost spoil each other. Eventually, it's gathered by Gresham. St Kilda's ball. Hand pass to Steele towards the boundary. Has to look infield. Conservative kick. Laterally marked by Crouch, who holds up on halfway. Gold Coast 3-2-20, St Kilda 1 behind. Crouch goes backwards. Howard marks at halfback, kicks it across the halfback line to Windhager. He chips it to Wanganeen Millera. Chip mark. They're still in their own half, and all they've done is gone from one side to the other.
They're trying to do this a lot more.
Marked by Battle. Hand pass to Webster. Now the kick forward, Acker. Wide. Marked by Marshall. 60 out left, half forward, hard on the boundary. Marshall winds onto his right boot, kicks it deep into attack. Marked by Collins. of the Suns. Got to the drop of a bit of a floater to grab it in the last line of defence for Gold Coast.
He just needed to hit it to the top of the goal square there, Marshall. He ran so hard to get it.
They're only operating at just over 20% efficiency inside 50 with regards to getting shots, the Saints, and there's a better effort there. Mason Wood, and the lead up was from Cooper Sharman. He hit him 45 out, 45-degree angle to the left, and the young man will have another ping.
Tell you what, Snake Sharma is having a good game. He is clunking them everywhere, but that just shows you that little bit of poise. Mason Wood, who was an unbelievable forward, that is a great kick inside. Can he get the distance though? Maybe with a little bit of breeze.
Cooper Sharman, the 22-year-old, with a little bit of breeze behind him, as Aka said, leans back on it. That's a nice strike. That's the Saints' first goal and gets the crowd involved here at Carrara. 3-2-20, plays 1-1-7. It's a 13-point lead to the Suns, and we played 3 minutes 20 of the second term.
Great kick by Mason Wood. It's just identifying that they had put numbers back there. Witts had got back there, clogged the hole. So they have a lot of players like that. You know, Ballard, they like to zone off. They like to take those intercept marks. Powell as well. So just really just honouring those leads, because what it does, it actually forces the Saints players to keep leading. If you're going to be used, they just keep doing it.
Yeah, the other thing too, they're definitely going to kick more in the back half. You saw them try to switch the Saints, and then in the forward half, the handball receives, which they did a lot in the back half in that first quarter.
Collingwood's tallying up Freo. We're not even at half-time at the G. Oh. Magpies 12-1, 73. Dockers 4-2-26.
Bring out the fat lady.
Really?
She starts singing.
A bit early for that call, Aka. Anyway,
it's over.
Centre bounce here. Marshall over the top of Witts. Clearance for the Saints. Rush kick from Sinclair. High to the edge of the centre square. Finished on the head of Marshall. Couldn't grab it. Robed by Steele of the Saints. Kicks to full forward. Andrew flies the pack in defence for Gold Coast. Robes his own crumb. Hand pass. Put teammate under pressure, and McPherson. Hand pass turned over. Gresham gave to Wood. Wood pressured off it by Hollands. Ball spills to ground in the back pocket for Gold Coast. And Rush is out of play.
Better pressure.
Zane on the boundary.
Aki, you probably don't watch too many Pies games because you're only confident as a Pies fan if they're behind with by 30.
Don't worry. What about the whooping that up here?
Someone needs to remind Zane that his role is boundary on this game and nothing to do with Collingwood.
Meanwhile, the Suns got a free kick and they've arced the ball across the face of goal. Come around towards the commentary wing. A nice mark taken.
Only Carlton references by lead commentators are allowed to detract from the game, Zane.
Dano's been sin bin for 5 minutes.
That's right. He got a yellow card for posturing about Collingwood as the ball goes over the back. There's Rowan Marshall. And that's a nice kick that's measured off there from Windhagen to find Burns right against the commentary wing boundary.
It's good by the Saints too. They've got a turnover, Pricey, on the wing, which is what they haven't been able to do in the first quarter.
So they're pursuing it. It's a very aggressive kick towards the corridor and finds Zach Jones just on the edge of the centre square.
Magic needle.
Just forward of the wing. He's got movement all over the place. He's waiting for the right movement. It comes in the form of the pocket. Beautifully spoiled by Collins at ground level. Not many people with a chance. In there, Owens, he's tackled into the ground. In fact, that's a rugby maul on the arc of 50. We'll get a ball up as all the bodies peel themselves off the Sherrin.
Surely he's had a little bit of help there, Jones.
You think the painkiller,
yeah,
Aka?
Absolutely. He looked terrible. But have a look how wide his scon is.
It's a good-looking hairdo. Witts taps down to Rowell. Right foot to Kieran. Kick from the half-back line to the wing. Hits the deck. Windhager meets it. Tackled off by Oyer. Got a hand pass clear, though. Back. Free kick to Stocker. Push in the back. Now, certainly both ex-Carlton players don't know whether they were ever teammates, Liam Stocker and Nick Holman. I'd suggest not. But both of them former Blues. See, there we go, Carlton reference. Kick to the middle of the ground. Wilkie takes the mark, hands it to Webster. Kick to half forward, marked by Crouch. Man on the mark's 55 from goal as the Saints are just starting to get a bit of a foothold in this contest. 13 points the lead to Gold Coast. Crouch kicks it to the pocket, 2-on-2. Over the pack it goes and bounces and rolls out of play. Boundary throw in right forward pocket for St Kilda. Gold Coast 3-2-20. Saints 1-1-7. 6 minutes played second quarter.
Crouch is having a good matchup with Rowell. Sorry, White.
Yeah. Just saying about the movement. It just takes one of them to take a risk, and Stocker's switch was brilliant.
Throw in right forward pocket for the Saints. Witts taps it down immediately. Zach Jones is claimed by Matt Rowell. Taken into the ground, so we'll have another ball up about 20 metres out. Slight angle to the right as the umpire says, give it to me quickly. So it's Mac Andrews going to be in the ruck against Caminiti for the Saints. Now Jared Witt says, get out of the way, Mac, I've got it. So Jared takes it down, slaps it into the path there of Flanders. He's bumped off it, got the handball back to Miller. His ball loose, picked up by Sinclair to the top of the square. Couldn't quite take it there. Could it be a free kick there to the Saints? It is. It's high contact. And the advantage has been paid? No. It's going to come back and it's going to go to Cooper Sharman.
Against Ben Long.
Yeah, his head was over the ball, but Ben Long was a little clumsy and just hit him a little high. So he's on the end of the goal square. Sharman comes in and kicks his second and the Saints' second to make the margin only 7 points. 3-2-20 plays 2-1-13. We've played 8 minutes of the second term on ABC Sport.
It was a bit of a... Ben Long, he just needed to stand there. He didn't need to rush him. Sharman he was facing away from the goal, so the chances of him trying to kick the goal off the ground was going to be very, very difficult. You just need to hold there and wait for him to pick the ball up.
Good response from the Saints.
Great response, but the funny thing about that with Long, his opponent fumbled it, and that fumble, he sort of had him cold, and that fumble actually worked in the favour of Sharman. But 2 goals, they're back. This is a game, and they are going to take it all the way here. The Saints, I think they are going to be hard to beat if they get on a roll.
High stakes for them. Inside the 8 as the round began. They were 6th on the ladder with 9 wins and 7 losses. Centre bounce, Marshall favoured by the bounce, got the tap down, but doesn't have a rover. Sinclair picks it off, kicks it off the ground. Butler has a fumble, picks up. Ball still in the middle. Butler's gang tackled by Witts and Swallow ball spills free. Picked up by Anderson of the Suns, hands it to Rao from the bullseye, chips to Lukosius. Marks it on the lead, 60 out, and is almost in range.
Yes.
Doesn't go for goal. Kicks it wide to the half-forward flank. Ellis marks it 50 out. Kicks it to the leading Miller. And Miller takes the grab. Tough angle. Beyond 40. Not quite 45 out, the man on the mark. But Touk Miller, second game back from a knee injury. He's going to have a look at the big sticks at the big screen end.
On with Turkey, I think before he got his knee injury, he's spending so much time on the ball. It'd be good to see him sort of move forward and have more shots on goal, because he's not a bad kick for goal. That said, we'll see what happens here.
Rare to see him lead out in such fashion, Aka. You're right. This will test him. 50 metres out. Tried to swing at it. There's a bit of right to left about it, and then left to right at the end. Bit of a double breaker, but it's gone near side for a behind. 8 points is the margin in favour of Gold Coast at 3-3-21 to 2-1-13. 10 minutes played, second quarter.
Thanks to bring the ball back in. Webster. Now Hill, where the 50-metre arc meets the boundary. Zach Jones leads up. Boy, he is moving a hell of a lot better after visiting the medics.
Magic.
He's got the ball in hand. Swallow stands the mark and he goes long down the line. That's going to advantage his Saints team, mate. That's a good fly there coming from Filippo. Good mark too, next to Long. Filippo wheels around, the left foot's nice. Honors the lead there, the young man in Paris. With the purple boots making his debut.
Purple boots.
Kicks it into the pocket. Ballard spoils, front and square. Atkins couldn't quite get rid of it. He's tackled. That's holding the ball, surely. Absolutely, that's good stuff from the Saints. Really good forward pressure. And it's Owens who's got the tackle.
Price. So much better from the Saints. More poise. That would have been Ross Lyon's message at quarter time. Hey boys, they're fired up. They're going hard. We're making a few errors. Just calm it down. Let's hit our targets. Let's get a bit of movement up ahead, and that's what they're doing right now.
Good young player, Mitch Owens, number 33 in the 2021 draft.
Bad moustache. He's
a very good kick for goal though, Aka. Oh, that's putting the mozzer on him if you've ever heard of it.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Straight across the face, one behind. And so 21 plays 14, back to that 7-point margin in favour of the Suns.
About to hit half-time at the MCG, and Collingwood's 47 points in front of Fremantle.
All over.
Powell chips short to Rowell. Rowell chips it back to Powell. Come on, too early for the Saturday night gigs, boys. Now Powell kicks it to Ellis, takes the mark at left half back.
Nowhere near Dilly, Willie and Lily.
Exactly. Ellis kicks long over the head of Casbolt. Saints ball at the back. Wanganeen Miller are there. Picks up, kicks it back to half forward for St Kilda. On the head of Owen, spurred away by Ellis. Out of play. I'm just waiting for the moment in the Ashes. I don't think we'll get it where we'll have Woke, Stokes and Folks. But they're just not going to pick a specialist keeper, are they?
I cannot wait. That would be very good to hear.
Hey, how many touches has Ellis had?
He's had 13 disposals with 2 clearances as well.
Been good today, been good battle.
Speaking of which, Josh Battles had 12. So at the back, Ellis with his 14th, kicks it just beyond centre wing. Casbolt spoiled there nicely by Howard. Off front and square, it was Stocker, who was ridden into the ground by Ainsworth and Holman. That was, oh boy, they peel themselves off the Carrara turf.
It is half-time at the G. That scoreline, Collingwood 14-12-86. Fremantle 5-3-33.
Dougal Howard is very sore after that clash. The clearance goes to Sinclair. He's tackled, manages to get his foot to the ball. Don't know how, but it's taken again by Ellis having some kind of game. Handball back to Flanders. Now it's with Miller. Through traffic a little easy. The bounce pass to Witts. Sold the dummy to Sinclair. Then laid the big slipper into it. Oh, that's good. Mark from Wilkie yet again. He used his body beautifully against Ben King, took the defensive mark, and the Saints should be out.
Burns gathers a bouncing ball in the pocket, hands it back to Wilkie, runs to defensive 50, kicks wide of the target. Sharman can't get there, out of play. Zane?
Yeah, just following on what Pricey said, Dougal Howard's still down at the defensive goal square. He's struggling a bit. He's got his hands on his hips. I'll keep an eye on him, but he's not moving real well.
Zane Bojack with the eagle eye on the boundary. You're with Quentin Hale, Michael Price, Jeff White and Jason Ackermanis, Grandstand AFL through ABC Sport. Shallow throw in, Witts roves, hands to Hollands, immediately tackled by Sinclair.
Zano out of the bullpen and the sin bin.
Yeah, he's out of the sin bin.
He's out of the sin bin.
Yep. No, he actually didn't go into the sin bin. It was more, it was a jovial warning more than anything from the stoppage on the outer side. Jones shrugs a tackle, gets a hard nut for the Saints and kicks it towards attacking 50. Wood flew, got a hand, can't mark, rope by Atkins of the Suns. Hand passes to Powell. Powell's kicked to the middle of the ground. Through Lukosius, taken high. Play on advantage taken by Miller. Kicks inside 50. Got a knuckle, did Stocker. King meets it for the Suns. Hand passes to Holman, who's on 50. Hands it to the flank. Holland's there. 55 out. Right foot bangs deep. Had the journey, but not the accuracy. Near side for a behind. 8 points the margin at Gold Coast 3-4-22 to St Kilda 2-2-14.
Go again.
Oh. Saints played on quickly, straight down the middle. Lukosius there. He did well. Got the handball back to Anderson. Now back to Atkins, who shoos one towards the 50. It's Miller. And he chips it into the pocket to the lead of Ainsworth. 45 out, 45-degree angle to the left. And that's a turnover due to pressure.
Their pressure's lifted the last 2 minutes, 3 minutes from the Suns. And that started on the wing here. There was a lot of tackles, a lot of hard tackles. Then they started getting contested ball. They started getting the uncontested ball. They won. Will Powell won on the half-back flank, contested footy. They've lifted their work rate now, the Suns.
The Ben Ainsworth, 14 goals, 9 for the year. He'll let this go from 45. Strikes it nicely. Oh, that's a dart. That's lovely. He turns to the crowd and gets them fired up. The Suns get their fourth. 4-4-28, plays 2-2-14. A 14-point margin in favour of the Suns. We played nearly 16 minutes of the second term. Zane Bojack's on the boundary.
Yeah, that's the first goal that's been kicked at that northern end today, and we're almost, near half-time. Fair dinkum, you'd think there's some wind out there, but there's nothing. There's not one breath of air down here, so from that perspective, it's pretty good to see the Suns go against the momentum and get that goal.
Ainsworth too, wonderful goal. Can someone go out and just ask him when he's going to get that haircut finished? Because that side of his head has just gone missing, but great goal. Can I ask though, do you reckon Wilkie has an advantage because he actually trains with his twin brother, playing on Ben King, playing again?
Playing Max King. I was about
Max King. At home, he'd have the advantage. He'd know exactly what he's doing.
He's destroying Ben King. 13 disposals for Callum Wilkie, and Ben King's touched the ball twice.
That's a really interesting point, Jason. Marshall with the tap down in the middle for St Kilda. Steele wrapped up underneath by Anderson, still in the middle.
Well, I think that the advantage of that is definitely the height, being the twin. But
Casbolt roves the ruck for the Suns. High kick into attack. Howard punches it away from Swallow. King taps down for the Suns, but Wanganeen and Miller are there to get a boot to it and rush a clearance, but it's out on the full.
There's that defence, that forward line pressure there, Q. Again,
good.
Forcing the Saints to...
Free kick to Oya. Right half forward, 70 out. Short pass infield marked by Miller. Hand pass to Atkins from 60. He kicks deep to full forward. There's King in the pack. Can't get a hand to it. Wilkie does enough to spoil. Lukosius Road shrugged off his kick. Ball on the ground on the goal mouth for the Suns. Webster through hands to Crouch. Crouch can't get it clear for the Saints. Pinched by Ainsworth in the pocket. Has a shot. Misses near side. 4 are behind. 15 points the lead to Gold Coast. 4-5, 29 to 2-2, 14.
Just saying, kick it to the top of the square. Don't have shots from there.
27 inside, 50s to 15 as the Saints bring it back in. It's with Paris. Boy, doesn't he look likely. 70 metres with his back to goal. Nice pass to the lead of Zach Jones, the rejuvenated Zach Jones after visiting the bench.
It's a miracle.
Could hardly move. Chipped it back in board towards Wanganeen Miller. He puts the skates on quickly. You see something he likes and delivers it exquisitely to Windhager, right on the boundary, short of right half forward. He's looking inboard, decides to take off. It's a long kick towards the top of the square. Big pack off the hands of Owens. He goes back to Rovey's own ball. Ben Long overruns it. Owens goes in. Handball's cut off by Collins. He gives it to McPherson, to Ellis, now to Ben Long, the outside of the right boot towards the wing, suits Ben King. He attacks it well, gathers the crumb, handball to Humphrey, who's absolutely belted. He dropped the ball cold anyway. The umpire didn't see it. He was blindsided. He's going to be balled up just on the edge of the centre square.
I reckon Butler's just raked that one out there. It looked like he dropped it.
Ball thrown in the air. Casbolt taps down. Miller can't clear. Stolen by Jones of St Kilda. Hand pass clear of the congestion, hoping for Crouch. Crouch taps it to the pocket, where it ricochets close to the line. Paris keeps it in. Hand pass is snapped from Owens to the goal mouth. Andrew, though, underneath it for the Suns to mark it fullback. His kick to the pocket. Was hoping for McPherson. It was read by Burns. Burns couldn't mark for the Saints. It's out of play. If you are with us on the Gold Coast wondering where your regular Saturday afternoon rugby league is, well, you can twiddle the dial. 612 on the AM band has got the league, or the ABC Listen app's got it. We'll keep you up to date here. Early try for Canterbury Bankstown there against Brisbane. 4-0 to the Doggies. But here we'll keep you entertained at Carrara as we get closer to half-time. Boundary throw in the right back pocket for the Suns, who win the clearance. Flanders with a kick over the head of Lukosius. Rolls towards right half-back. Saints get to it first in number. Hand pass goes to Marshall. Marshall rush kick back into attack. Andrews in the way again for the Suns. Kick semi-smothered. Goes to Crouch. Crouch tackled off it by Andrews. Spills to Oya. Gee, it's a hard footy to win cleanly. Powell makes a tackle on Burns. Wraps it up. Ball up. There is some intensity in this.
It's just a game of like forward pressure. If you get that forward pressure, you get repeat entries inside forward 50. This is what's happening right now for the Saints.
So the ball up. Clearance with the Saints through the hands of Steele. He ended up tapping it backwards to Mason Wood, back inside the square to Gresham. Evades the tackler. It's a sky ball inside 50. Suns with numbers. And Will Powell floats across the front. Takes another beautiful defensive mark. Some great defensive aerialism we've seen today here at Carrara. As Will Powell goes out towards Casbolt. Nicely spoiled there. Well done by Owens, who got back. Took it over the boundary line, so we'll get a throw in. It's at left half forward for the Saints. And they're trailing this one by 15 points with 21 gone of the second term.
Beating half-time at the MCG, a 53-point lead for Collingwood over Fremantle.
It's all over.
Here is Gold Coast by 15 points, and if you haven't picked it up in the last 5 minutes, Jason doesn't think the Dockers can come back.
No chance.
Rowell's under the pack. Sinclair is company. Ball spills Gold Coast way. Atkins a rush kick from defensive 50 to the wing, met by Lukosius. Knuckles are clear of the congestion, and fortuitously it bounces for Holman. Kick to half forward out in front of King and Wilkie. Neither gather. Swallow follows up, wins it for the Suns, hands it to King, hands it to Holman. Holman bounces off a would-be tackler. Hand passes infield to Humphrey, 30 out. Humphrey kicks it smartly to King. That's a long, should I say. 50 from goal. The ex-Saint gets a boo or two as he chips it to Ellis. And Ellis marks 40 from goal and points to the sticks.
Having a good game, Ellis. He and Brad Hill have been going head-to-head, but Brad Hill was really good early. But if he kicks this one, I think he's taken the point so far, Brandon Ellis.
17 disposals with 4 clearances as well, Acker.
That's a big game for him. I mean, he's always been a great runner, underrated as a runner, but good work.
3 goals so far in this 2023 campaign. This to make it a 21-point lead. He hasn't allowed for that breeze which pushes it left to right. Started right in the middle, just faded away, through for a point, 16 the margin. Gold Coast 4-6-30, St Kilda 2-2-14.
A bit of verbal there between Butler and Ellis. Former teammates, a little bit of jovialism.
The former Tigers. Now the Saints bring it out again.
You definitely got all out for the break kicking to that end, don't you, Jason and
Much, but just enough.
Gee, Jack Steele. Good mark taken on the outer wing. The run is from Windhager. He delivers the handball. He lowers the vision and he looked to find Sharman. Nicely spoiled there by Ballard in the game. Gathered the ball, did Ballard, and then Windhager was gathered himself, taken over the boundary, and we'll get a throw in on the outer side.
What a surname.
Windhager.
Oh,
it sounds like a beer. From
because I'll have 3 Windhagers, thanks. Actually, deliver 4 of them to the box.
It's a pizza.
Well, the phone's gone off, so maybe the pizza has arrived. Casbolt flicked it from the ruck contest forward. Oya showing some pace, the Papua New Guinean, and some vision too. Got the handball there to Anderson back inboard. Will Powell ran forward, kicked it inside 50. Lukosius took it on the chest. He's 45 out and he's on a very tight angle to the right, but he's got the distance covered. Don't worry about that. It's all about the accuracy.
What about that run from Powell and then the execution just to pop it out in front of Lukosius? Outstanding.
He's jumped up another level this year, Will Powell.
Yes.
Like him with Ballard, just underrated defenders.
I think also Swallow is tagging Sinclair. That's the other matchup we probably just missed.
So Jack Lukosius, he opened the scoring from 50, from a tight angle. It's got the distance. It's an arrow from Jack Lukosius. Oh. 2 goals for him. As the didgeridoo signals the Suns extending their lead, 5-6-36, plays 2-2-14. It's a 22-point game-high margin here with 24 going to the second term.
Bryce, you're just saying about players that have lifted, and Powell was one of them, but Lukosius this year, he's been, Jesus, if not the best player for the Suns this year, definitely in their top 3.
Well, they've worked him out as basically the third forward.
Yeah.
What was Alex Sexton's role? You know, more unsuccessful than successful over recent years.
Well,
they've now probably got a better version of him.
Yeah, he's everywhere. But what a strike of the footy. Had a little bit of left to right. Very good goal. Can I just ask though, Paris Kneebone is the mum, so it's obviously just takes the first name. Is that how it rolls these days?
Well, no, but Paris is her maiden name, which she goes by. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, just so we clear that up.
Yeah. Former Commonwealth Games gold medalist in track and field and Olympic gold medalist in hockey. Amazing story. Centre bounce, Saints get the clearance, but they're all the way out the back. Windhager hand passes to half back. Wanganeen Miller has kicked a half forward down the throat of Powell. Reading it beautifully for the Suns. Kick infield though is poor. Was looking for Rowell, intercepted by Jones. Takes the mark for the Saints. Kicks St Kilda into attack with a high ball. Allens flies from the back, can't mark. Oh, Powell got back there to Rove. Hand passes to Atkins, hands it through Ballard to left half back. The hand pass hits Hollins, chips to the lead of Ainsworth, marks it between left half back and the wing. Kicks backwards to Ballard, marks, kicks looking for Miller, harassed off it by Sinclair, but swooping in Ainsworth, tackled by Owens, ball on the deck, 50 from the Saints goal, Rowell's over it, tackled, and the umpire says ball up as Crouch applies the lock on the blood-nutted Suns midfielder.
Saints can get a goal here. It's just near half time. Could be very nice.
I was going to ask you very shortly about their percentage going forward. The Saints only 28% efficiency inside 50 generating shots. Making it hard for themselves as Hill from centre wing finds Zach Jones. That's beautiful delivery. 60 from goal. He's gesturing for a lead. Gresham started it. He kicked it to the top of the square. There he is again. Will Powell standing in front of his opponent there in Filippo. Couldn't quite get to it, and Will Powell takes the mark with his back to the goal square. He finds Took Miller in the left back pocket as the Saints once again can't generate a shot from going inside 50. Jason Ackermanis, what's the issue?
They're not working hard enough, some of their forwards on the lead. He wanted it to be in front of him with the lead, and no one presented. So good pressure they're putting on, but not enough energy for some leads.
Long has it at left half back for the Suns. Kick to a pack. St Kilda's Rove. Pressure on Windhager, tackled by Holman, holding the ball.
And that pressure from behind, Q, they're staying in the moment. the Saints are just holding on to it a bit too long.
Holman hands it to Ainsworth on the wing. Kick to half forward. Casbolt 2 to beat. Howard flew. Had a big piece. Couldn't mark for the Saints and roved by the Suns. Flanders snaps the ball towards the goal mouth. King! Cover to beat. Can't mark but roves his own crumb. Snap on goal. He's pushed off it. Stolen by Sinclair of the Saints. Toe pokes to Hill. And Hill has a dash off half back. Ran too far. Umpire. He ran too far twice. And got away with it. Kicks it short to Peris at right half back.
Oh dear, I thought we were back in the NRL as Wanganeen Miller gets it. The handballs and forward to Crouch. He got the 1-2 back. They go longer down the line. Owens gathered, absolutely belted by Holman, who's come off second best himself. Now Crouch gathers, kicks it towards half forward. Saints with a chance. It's nicely picked up by Caminiti. Got the handball back there to Peris. Inside 50. Suns with numbers. Powell at ground level. He's got Gresham pressuring him. He burnt him off. Handball to Hollins. Now a sweeping handball to Witts. That was 20-metre handball. Witts kicks it to the wing. Casbolt taps it down. And that is going to be a halftime siren welcomed by the Suns crowd here at Carrara. The home side has gone out to a 22-point lead. 5-6-36, place 2-2-14. That's after they led by 19 points at quarter time. Sorry, yes it was 19 points at quarter time. Your goal scorers, well, for St Kilda it's pretty easy pickings. You've got young Sharman who's got a pair. For the Gold Coast Suns, Jack Lukosius has got 2. Ainsworth, Atkins, Anderson have got 1 apiece.
22 the margin. Jeff White, Jason Ackermanis. A thought or two from you as we ponder things and take in a little bit of oxygen here. It's been a high-intensity contest. Gorgeous day for football. Fast track, and both teams happy enough to try and play high-intensity footy. And why not Suns try to respond to a tough week off the field, and the Saints battling to stay inside the top 8.
Well, the Suns have come with immense intensity today, and they're going to look at it. They'll look at it at half-time and say, look, when our intensity's up, the Saints go into handball mode. They're trying to handball, they're trying to create, they're not getting on the boot. When the pressure's not there, the Saints are able to get their little chip-ups, little uncontested marks. They're able to switch across the ground. They're able to get their link-up play happening by foot. When the Suns, in that passage, that last 5 minutes of that quarter there, the Suns were unbelievable. They just the intensity was up. They were balancing their defensive work rate. They were just outstanding.
And we never know the real answer to these things, Jeff and Jace, but whether it's the news of the week that we see the Suns' intensity or the lessons learnt from playing the 2 current leading teams in the competition the last 2 weeks, Jason.
Yeah, they've been
What's required to be at the top of the competition? When you get beaten by it, you can front up with it, perhaps.
Yeah, and you can see what the opposition does. They throw so much at you. The Saints, and I mean, this particular game you're seeing, they lifted their intensity, particularly in the forward half. Both teams have been pretty good. Saints much improved. They started to get some more shots on goal. But what they didn't do is they didn't get these handball receives out of the back half, which is it wasn't really working for them. It allowed the Suns to just create a lot more pressure and turnover. So they played better that quarter, the Saints. And the Suns, though, you know, whenever you lose a coach, it's an awful feeling because you're freed up, but then you also want to know who's next, what's next.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those really strange weeks. You're in limbo for 5-6 days.
And sometimes you can go in your shell. And also, too, it's probably something to mention, too, the assistant coaches, too. The assistant coaches are like, normally when a new coach comes in, he brings his own personnel. So, okay, now the coach has left. He's been sacked. Okay, where do I stand? What's my enthusiasm going to be like? So it filters all the way down and all across different levels. But they've shown an immense intensity today, and led by Holman, and then Will Power at the back line. They've just been really gelling, and they've been that's why they're in front at the moment, is purely because their intensity and their hardness of the ball.
Thank you, gentlemen. Gold Coast 5-6-36. St Kilda 2-2-14. 22 points the margin here. We've got the close one because the second half is about to begin at the MCG. Collingwood will start it with a 53-point lead over Fremantle. The Pies 14 goals to 86 to the Dockers 5-3-33. 2 goals for Adams, 2 goals for Elliott, 2 goals for Johnson, 2 goals for McStay. Now the multiple contributors for the Magpies. Nick Dacos leading the way with 21 disposals for Collingwood. In the National Rugby League, Brisbane's found an answering try Adam Reynolds just lining up the conversion there. Belmore this afternoon for Canterbury Bankstown against the Brisbane Broncos. Reynolds kicks the conversion. It's the Doggies 6, the Broncos 6. You can hear that through the ABC Listen app, or if you're with us on the coast, twiddle the dial. 6:12 on the AM band has got the coverage of that. To come later today in the AFL, it's Carlton against Port, Geelong against Essendon, and Adelaide against the Giants. And in the NRL, Manly plays North Queensland and the Roosters up against Melbourne. But on that, we will take a pause on what is a gorgeous Saturday afternoon to be at the football. Our pleasure to bring it to you here on ABC Sport. It's Gold Coast by 22 points at halftime. We'll be back at the footy after a trip to the newsroom.
ABC News, I'm Sam Wilkinson. Australia's ambassador to the US, Kevin Rudd, says he's confident plans to bolster Australia's defences in the Indo-Pacific are moving a step closer to reality. A US Senate committee has approved draft legislation allowing the transfer of sensitive military technology to Australia. If it passes both houses of Congress, it would help accelerate the delivery of Australia's nuclear-powered AUKUS submarine fleet. Kevin Rudd says it's essential for Australia's shared future with the US and UK.
What's our mission statement? What's our mission objective? It's that we three great democracies develop a seamless defence, science and technology sector between us all.
A Queensland political scientist says it's highly unusual for a federal government to win a seat from the opposition at a by-election. Voting continues in the Gold Coast seat of Fadden to elect a replacement for former Minister Stuart Robert following his resignation in May. The Liberal Party holds Fadden by a margin of more than 10% and is confident its candidate, Cameron Caldwell, will retain the seat. Dr Maxine Newlands from James Cook University says people tend to stick with what they know.
If they're stalwart Liberal voters, they're going to vote regardless of the candidate. It'll be those voters that are the kind of sway voters where they voted for Labour at state, which is quite common, but they've voted for Liberal at federal level. And it'll be those that will have an impact on, but not the stalwarts that are going to vote regardless of who's there.
Homicide detectives are investigating a woman's death in WA's north. Hannah Murphy reports.
Police say they were called to the front of Kununurra's leisure centre just before 10 o'clock this morning. The victim received critical injuries and died at the scene. Forensics officers have cordoned off the car park of the centre and homicide officers are en route. A woman is helping police with their inquiries.
The South Australian government says it's still considering an inquiry into the greyhound racing industry after recent revelations of live baiting. Last month, 3 trainers were handed life bans for using live animals as prey to get greyhounds to run faster. Today it revealed a record 526 greyhounds were adopted in the past financial year. Greyhound Racing SA's Chief Executive Bodell Francis says the vast majority of trainers do the right thing.
I think we made it pretty clear that both GRSA nor our industry will stand for such an abhorrent act. That was also shown by the penalties in which were handed down being the most severe that have been in South Australia's history.
The New South Wales government has pledged $1.7 million for the Australian Rules Football Club that lost 5 members in the Hunter Valley bus crash. 10 people were killed when a bus rolled, leaving a wedding last month. Premier Chris Minns, who is visiting Singleton today, says the money will help Singleton Roosters build a memorial for the players who died. More than 50 emergency specialists from New South Wales are on their way to Canada to help fight bushfires. Helena Burke reports.
Around 800 fires are currently burning across Canada as the country faces its worst bushfires ever recorded. Firefighters and emergency support officers from organisations like the RFS and SES are on their way to help. They'll join a contingent of around 700 first responders from Australia and New Zealand deployed to Canada. Emergency Services Minister Jihab Dib says the state is repaying the favour after Canadian crews helped during the Black Summer bushfires in 2019 and 2020.
Meanwhile, firefighters in Southern California are battling 3 separate bushfires. The massive fires are burning southeast of Los Angeles in Riverside County. Around 1,000 homes are under evacuation orders. And this comes as Americans are being warned to take care as a heatwave extends over the weekend. The National Weather Service has issued extreme heat advisories, watches and warnings for nearly a third of the country. It's forecast to get worse for Nevada, Arizona and California, where desert temperatures are predicted to soar past 48 degrees Celsius Celsius. This man is a tourist in Las Vegas and says he plans to be careful about how long he spends outside.
Don't just be walking straight heat, especially during like mid-afternoon. Like that's when it's the worst. So last thing I want to be doing is passing out in the middle of Las Vegas Strip.
And there's predictions the Hollywood strike could last until the end of the year. Thousands of actors have joined writers on the picket lines a day after their union failed to reach an agreement with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. Succession star Brian Cox has told the BBC the strike could drag on for months, given both sides are a long way apart on issues including pay and royalties from streaming. He's also warned of the dangers of artificial intelligence.
What you're going to have is regurgitated. Everything's going to be regurgitated. So nothing is going to be original. Nothing will be new. I mean, that's like shows like Succession will merely be copies. There will not be original pieces of work.
ABC News.
A young woman stands in a recording booth speaking into a microphone. She's an audio describer. And she's here to tell you that audio description is now available on hundreds of shows on ABC iView, which means audiences who are blind or have low vision will never miss another detail, like who turns out to be the killer and all those longing glances in the romances. Audio description on ABC iView. Sounds like ABC.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
And the lead up was from Cooper Sharman. He hit him 45 out, 45-degree angle to the left, and the young man will have another ping.
Yeah, what Snake Sharma is having a good game. He is clunking them everywhere.
Cooper Sharman, the 22-year-old, with a little bit of breeze behind him, as Aka said, leans back on it. That's a nice strike. That's the Saints' first goal and gets the crowd involved here at Carrara. Flanders, he's bumped off it, got the handball back to Miller. His ball loose, picked up by Sinclair to the top of the square. Couldn't quite take it there. Could it be a free kick there to the Saints? It is. It's high contact. It's going to go to Cooper Sharman. Sharman comes in and kicks his second and the Saints' second.
Dougal Howard's still down at the defensive goal square. He's struggling a bit. He's got his hands on his hips. I'll keep an eye on him, but he's not moving real well.
He did well. Got the handball back to Anderson. Now back to Atkins, who shoos one towards the 50. It's Miller. And he chips it into the pocket to the lead of Ainsworth. 45 out, 45-degree angle to the left. To Ben Ainsworth. 14 goals, 9 for the year. He'll let this go from 45. Strikes it nicely. Oh, that's a dart. That's lovely. He turns to the crowd and gets them fired up. The Suns get their fourth. He's destroying Ben King. 13 disposals for Callum Wilkie. And Ben King's touched the ball twice.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
And now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Carrara on the Gold Coast, your venue for Saturday afternoon football through ABC Sport. Welcome back, Quentin Hull and the team. Contemplating matters which sees Gold Coast lead St Kilda by 22 points at the main break. Suns 5-6, 36. Saints 2-2, 14. St Kilda 9 wins, 7 losses. Started the round 6th on the ladder. But boy, it is packed inside and outside of the 8. It's one of the most entertaining races to September that we've had in recent times. The Saints are a big part of it. They'd love to leave Carrara with 4 premiership points, but if they are to do so, they'll have to do it coming from behind, while the Gold Coast Suns, in their first week under interim coach Stephen King, well, they're a chance to claim their 8th victory of the season, and in doing so would stay just clinging at the back of the peloton. It's Tour de France time, might as well use those cycling terms. They're struggling at the back of that pack, but if they can hang on for long enough, who knows? And they need to win today. That's part of the storyline of this Saturday of round 18. Also at the MCG, we've got a couple of storylines going on there. Collingwood's winning easily. The Magpies 15 goals, 12-92. Playing Fremantle's 7-3-45. So the Magpies are doing it easily there, but Brandon Walker's just gone down clutching his knee. It looks like he's been seriously injured for the Dockers, so that is bad news. Further bad news for Dockers fans. In the National Rugby League, Belmore Sports Ground, the traditional home of the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, hosting the game between the Dogs and the Broncos. And mid-first half, it's Brisbane 12, leading Canterbury Bankstown 6.
All over.
Which is all over as well.
That's all
Aka
over.
reckons that.
The Broncos will just run away with it now.
I love the traditional Canterbury jump. Are they traditional?
They're the old ones. They're terrible. They're blue and white hoops, sort of.
It's like
we're
Geelong-ish.
speaking to the AFL audience, but
it's Geelong-ish.
The thing is, Geelong actually stopped the hoops going through the back portion where the number is, so you can see their numbers.
All right.
You can't see those. Blue and white hoops with black numbers.
Oh, okay.
You try and pick up those numbers. I'm glad I'm not calling that game today. One, I've called it Belmore. The box is hard to call from. And two, those numbers are horrible.
Yeah, they are. I take it back.
Yeah.
Shocker.
The old Berries numbers. By the way, thank you for ensuring that I now need to readdress my mind to what else do I have to tell our listeners? That if you're with us on the Gold Coast, you'll be heading to the league later on today. Manly up against the Cowboys, Roosters up against Melbourne. And as ever, wherever you are, ABC Listen app, green button for the league, red and blue button for the AFL, and of course red button for the cricket. With that to continue over the weekend with the Women's Ashes well and truly alive. In the AFL to come today, Carlton versus Port, Geelong versus Essendon, and Adelaide versus Greater Western Sydney. Stretches coming out for Brandon Walker at the MCG, which is bad news there. Pricey, some more numbers, please, as the Suns contemplate a 22-point lead at half-time.
Well, overall disposals, it's only +3 to the Gold Coast, 208 to 205. The Gold Coast in favour with the clearances as well, 20 to 14. Tackles, 39 to 28 in favour of the Gold Coast. The inside 50s, 30 to 21. Now for the individuals, Flanders has got 18 disposals with 6 inside 50s, the most effective player on the ground in that regard. 17 disposals for Ellis and 4 clearances. Rory Atkins and Will Powell, both with 14 disposals. Will Powell, especially across defence, very effective with his kicking at 86%. When it comes to the Saints, Wanganeen Miller has got 19 disposals. Brad Crouch, 16 with 5 clearances. Callum Wilkie's been phenomenal in defence, 14 disposals. He's had 7 marks already. And his opponent, Ben King, with the 5 touches, got back into the game. But all over the place, it's the Suns leading the hit-outs. The only thing they're actually losing in is the contested marks and the marking in general. Saints leading that 64 to 54 contested marks, 7 to 3. But when it comes down to it, inside 50s being 30 to 21 in favour of the Gold Coast, it's the Saints' inability to actually transfer those opportunities into scores. They're only operating at 24% efficiency inside 50, 5 shots from 21, and the Gold Coast 40% at 12 shots from 30. Overall, that translates to a 22-point margin in favour of the Suns. Is this the dawn or the new Suns, Jason Ackermanis and Jeff White?
Well, the Suns of old, I mean, there was a bit of a question mark this week, Whitey, on their list. It's supposed to be a bit better than maybe people think. But, I always think that your list is so good and your coach makes you better. That's the whole point. I think the Saints would have been just an also-run kind of list, but they've improved. Obviously, new coach. I think the same will happen with the Suns. That said, boys, I was trying to get in the lift to come up here. And the guy goes, no, mate, you can't come in. This is for the Suns coach. It's not so fitting. Anyway, then I got in the lift and I stopped at every floor on the way up. So, when you're running late, it's just not working. That said, Saints, can they come and mount a challenge? Because they've got it all there, Whitey. They've just got to start delivering to their forwards because their forward line has been lively, but just very, very poor as far as getting marks.
Yeah, well, I think the ability going forward is the efficiency is what they've got to really focus on. Even that last play inside forward 50 where Will Powell marked it, I think it was Jones who kicked it, was quite flat. Right spot, but it was quite flat. So you're not giving any chance to the forwards to actually mark it. I mean, at the end of the day, if you kick it up in the air, that's what the backmen don't like. They don't want to be sitting there as a sitting duck. But it gives time for players to set up, those small forwards to actually get front and centre, but you give the chance to your big forwards to go for it. So they just got to tidy up a few things. I mean, look, it's only 3 goals down, but I just think the intensity that the Suns have got, that takes a hell of a lot of energy for 4 quarters to do that. So the Saints will be aware of that.
We've watched a lot of Suns footy. Any noticeable difference with Stephen King taking over today as to their methodology? Their structure?
No, I think we've seen Took Miller go forward a few times, and I think that just adds to the stability of having that forward pressure. But we know that he's
second week back from a knee.
Correct, and he's good in the middle. So, no, I don't think. I think they're just... I think King's message would have been during the week, just shackles off, boys. You're here, this is your position, this is your role, this is what you've got to stick with, and I think it's the unity of that is working at the moment. But like I said, with the high pressure, it takes a lot of effort to do that for the 4 quarters. So there's got to be times the Saints have got it. So are they turning their heads and are they getting on the dangerous side? Really important half of footy coming up for St Kilda. They're all important if you're around that race to get inside the 8. Interestingly enough, they've got their next 5 games at Docklands, North and Hawthorn to come in the next couple of weeks. But I'm sure there's Saints fans thinking, well, under Ross the Boss, we've shown some great signs this year, including a near-on 9-goal win over the Suns earlier this year. If we are to prove that we belong in that top 8, they've got to either win or run the Suns very close here this afternoon.
Well, what's happening too is the Suns are falling really behind in form and everything that they want. The other teams are coming. You know, Geelong, all the other guys sort of in that pack are starting to play some good footy. And this is the time of year you can play whatever you like, but you still got to graft out wins. And they are just not doing that at the moment. But they've got the talent. So we'll see what this second half brings for the Saints fans.
Yeah, and without Membry, Higgins, King, Billings, Ross, they are men down, but they have been all season. But just haven't really seen the opportunity for the likes of Caminiti down forward today to really make his presence felt. Youngster, of course, but plenty of storylines in this second half. Let's do it. Third term footy at Carrara, Suns by 22.
Umpire Andrew Adair bangs it down in the middle of Carrara. Saints with the clearance through Jack Steele, inside 50. Ballard to the front of the pack. Brilliant hands. Having some kind of defensive season is Charlie Ballard. Chips the ball backwards to Powell. And once again, they move it across the face of goal. It's Flanders now, measures a pass. Finds Collins. 70 from goal, right half back. Methodical. Looking back inboard. He's going to go long down the line. Commentary wing. Ben King. Oh, presented. That's the way, Ben King. Better. Nice. One take in front of the grandstand commentary box.
Plays on with a kick to right half forward. Casbolt crashed into Swallow, his teammate. Couldn't mark. Humphrey Rose for the Suns. Hand passes to Ellis. Rush kick inside 50. Witts is leading out from the square. That's a bit different. Couldn't mark on the deck. Howard picks it up for St Kilda. Tackled by Casbolt. Ball up.
Good ploy by Witts. Take Marshall forward. Use him as a defender.
Get a goal or two.
Yeah.
I love that.
Definitely.
Ruck slash forward 101 with Jeff White. Stoppage. Rowell crashes through for the Suns. Somehow got a hand pass to Anderson, gives to Flanders. All under pressure through hands to Ellis, out the back to Atkins. Now the kick. A floater to the corridor. Lukosius flew. Can't mark under the pressure from Wanganeen Miller. The Saint follows up the tackle. Miller. Ball spills free. Webster with a swing and hoping left foot clearance, which bounces out of play. Was their intent? No. Well, there may have been, but it's deemed insufficient, and the free kick goes to Gold Coast forward of the interchange gates.
There's that forward pressure again. Acco forcing. He had time there to actually use the ball. He just put on his boot.
Rory Atkins went to go inboard. It was semi-smothered off hands. It lands with Rowell. He got the handball back to Atkins to the arc of 50. He pops it to the top of the square. Suns with numbers. Humphrey has a snap. He hasn't. Oh, the kid is a jet. Have a go at this kid in his first year of football, Bailey Humphrey. Boy, he's got a highlight reel already. What a brilliant goal. 6-6, 42, plays 2-2, 14. 28 points the margin. It's a game high. 2 minutes 20 gone to the third term. Zane Bojak's on the boundary. How good was that, Zano?
Oh, the crowd lifted too. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of what Isaac Rankin used to do.
I thought you were about to say it reminded you of Jason Ackermanis against Geelong in the wet.
They were better than that. That was outrageous. You almost thought, looking from our angle, he's going to kick it through the points. But what a goal, and that just shows you the class of the man. But Swallow getting active. I just wonder if he's still got that tagging role, because it's been so good that he's forced Sinclair to the back line.
Will be such an interesting debate as it continues. Who wins the trade? Lukosius has been great for Adelaide, but the Suns not only got this kid, but picks 3 and 4 in the draft as well as a part of that trade.
They win.
Well, they might use those points for some of the talented kids on the coast from the academy. Anyway, centre bounce. It's 28 points the lead to the Suns and a clearance. Powell running off half-back. Kick goes through the hands of Lukosius. Kicked out of the air by Sinclair of the Saints. Fortuitously falls to Crouch. Marks forward of the wing. Plays on. Dummies the hand pass, then kicks to the lead of Gresham, who's been quiet. But he marks here. 45 from goal. 45 degrees to the left.
Out of contract there, but I am right. Sinclair is still getting tagged as a defender from Swallow, so they really must rate him as their most dangerous offensive midfielder / defender.
Jade Gresham with 15 goals for the season. St Kilda needing one here. They've conceded the last 3 in the game. Margin got back to 7 points. Currently stands at 28. Gresham runs over 50, strikes it from 49 with his right boot. Just stays left. Good strike, just missing to the left. Behind, Gold Coast's lead is 27 at 42-15.
Yeah, rumoured to be pursued by a couple of clubs, Jade Gresham.
Ah, yes. Well, he's out of contract. You do that. That's usually when you play best footy, mind you.
Yeah, well, he's not doing that at the minute as it comes through. He's been restricted, though, as Darcy McPherson has it inside defensive 50 for the Suns.
Spoken from a bloke who made up an offer from Sydney when he was about to be
that wasn't made up.
from
That
Lions.
wasn't made up. I had it on the table. 500 large ones. Don't worry about that. Thank you, Andrew Ireland, for that one.
Rory Atkins now. From inside defensive 50, flares out to the outer wing. Casbolt in front of Howard. Tell you what, he's got his work cut out from him, Casbolt, because Howard has been brilliant in defence as the ball comes off both their hands and goes over the boundary line. We'll get a throw in on the outer side. It's 27 points the margin now in favour of the Suns with 5 gone into the third term.
How dare I suggest Jason do anything underhanded like that?
That'd be smart, wouldn't it?
Boundary throw in the Rang River side. Picked up by Windhager of the Saints. Rushed kick to half forward on the head of the pack. Powell first hands can't mark. Gresham rose for St Kilda. Defensive hand pass rolls back to the wing. Windhager picks it up, gives it to Hill. Hill hands it through Gresham back to Hill, kicks it out on the full.
That's that pressure. They've kicked it out in the full about 4 times today, the Saints, just by that back pressure.
Yeah.
Behind the ball pressure.
Hill, that's his weakness though, he's kicking. That shouldn't have gone out in the full, but anyway, the pressure's too good.
Powell's had a really good game in the defence for Gold Coast. He inbounds with a spearing inside 45 kick mark by McPherson at half-back. Hands to Atkins, hands to Miller. They open up the corridor. Kick to half-forward, not great from Took Miller. Picked up on the bounce by Battle of the Saints. Hand passes to Sinclair. Kicks wide to the wing. Wood marks. Plays on. Kicks to Sharman. Marks it. 50 from goal, plays on quickly, inboard kick is a beauty. Filippo marks on his chest, 25 metres out directly in front.
This is a beautiful kick from Sinclair, wasn't it, off the half-back line, just in space, just created that spread, and that ability to spread creates the Saints teammates to come from behind where they come out of that space. So beautiful link-up play there from.
Killer turnover. Lee Matthews hated that. Centre half back or centre half forward for us.
It's a weak line, isn't it?
You always get done.
Saints need a goal. Filippo, the youngster from 40 out. Good kick on his left. Just what St Kilda needed. And the teenager Mateus Filippo keeping the Saints flame flickering at Carrara. Suns lead it by 21 points. Gold Coast 6-6-42 to the Saints 3-3-21. 7 minutes third term on Grandstand AFL.
Whitey Sinclair is gone from a midfielder who wasn't getting much of it to the defence, and he is looking lively. I think he's in a better role there for the Saints. So this will be an interesting half, because if he can set him up as he does with his foot skills. But that was just a turnover, Whitey at half forward. That's what killed them. They were out. They were all out of position, and that's what happens.
Well, that's why they put him in the. He's a beautiful decision maker. Uses the ball really well. It's like a Nick Dacos, really. He just uses the ball and puts his players and his teammates in the best position.
Back into the middle, the Saints keeping themselves in the contest. Zane Bojak's on the boundary.
Yeah, Hunter Clark's been activated by St Kilda. I'm still trying to work out who's been cut.
Looks like Filippo from Champion Data. Filippo has been dropped out of there. Zano
kicks a goal. He's off.
That's it. Anderson inside 50 for the Suns. Spoiled there by Lukosius at ground level. Now Saints with a chance. It's a free kick. Now the umpires pulled the whistle. It's going to be a Gold Coast Suns free kick.
Right.
It was a throw, and
Levi.
it's going to be awarded to big Levi Casbolt. And Jack Lukosius was standing there saying to the umpire, give it to me, but big Levi's going to have it. 30 out, big angle to the right. Zeno?
Yeah, it's Filippo. He's put on the bib, and yeah, what a way to do it. Kick a goal and then out of the game you go.
Paperwork would have been lodged before he kicked that goal.
That is stiff.
That's what the board said about Stewie Jew.
Well, he's definitely not injured.
But Levi Casbolt now to answer that Saints goal. Leans back. Big Levi straight through the middle. The Suns get their 7th, 7-6, 48. Plays 3-3, 21, 27 points the margin. We've played 6.5 of the third team. Grandstand AFL.
What a goal, Whitey. We like that. But the throw, the pressure again, Whitey. That's what's doing.
Yeah, even from the big fellas to do that. But his presence throughout this, well, I'd say last 2 years, to be honest. King wasn't there last year, and he came in and he's held his business really well. He presents, and they've used him in the ruck today, which has been really good.
It's something that's a sideline story, but this has been a club, because of its inability to keep its talent, has always struggled to really have a lot of big body physical presence. He's helping the Suns change their DNA. With Witts and Collins and Casbout now on every line, there's a big brute.
Yeah.
And the Suns have never had that before.
Yeah.
No.
Here's the centre bounce, and one of those brutes is at the ruck. It's Witts tapping down to Flanders, hand pass to Anderson, clearance Suns, kick inside 50, Ainsworth can't mark. Oya does the roving. He's at the opposite end of the brute arrangement. He's a little blowfly trying to pick it up. He's tackled, got rid of it. Witts crashes through Marshall to ricochet the ball away to Rowell. Rash kick to the goal mouth. Ball to ground level. Oh, kicked off the ground by Lukosius. Burns went without it. Holman has it. He's tackled by Clark. Holding the ball.
He did defend to start with.
Free kick to the injected sub. Hunter Clark at full back for the Saints. Gold Coast lead by 27 points.
Yeah, that's your prior opportunity right there. As soon as you stick the palm out.
Too strong, you get done.
Hunter Clark, long kick towards the centre wing. Mason Wood in front position, couldn't take the mark, well spoiled. In fact, front and square Anderson. Gee whiz, he got taken just beyond the 180 and he ended up getting a handball away. The umpire said he held it too long. So the free kick's going to be with the Saints. It was well done by Windhager with the tackle regardless. He kicks long down the line. Ben Long at the back position. Read it well, dropped the mark. Taken there by Collins. Handball back to McPherson long down the line. Once again, Wilkie completely outpoints Lukosius by the body. His defensive work is something to behold here at Carrara.
Chips it infield to Clark. Marks at defensive side of the wing. Not alarm bell screeching yet, but the Saints need the next goal. 27 the difference. 1-2 with Stocker. Took the mark, hands it back to Clark. Kick to the forward line. Crouch, half a chance. Couldn't gather. Long charges through for the Suns. Whitey liked it. He dropped the pill though. Ball in dispute. Centre half forward for St Kilda. Butler picks up. No look hand pass stolen by McPherson of the Suns. Hands it off to Powell. Dropped it. Paris, the first gamer with the rundown tackle. Great work from Jack Paris. 55 out, doesn't go for goal. Chip, bounces in front of Marshall, gathers in the pocket, snaps it back to the corridor. Long's there for the Suns to take the mark. And another St Kilda 4-8 forward comes up Nort. Long kicks to Ryan, half back to Holman, and the Suns have got the broadcast wing. Holman hand passes to Ellis. Ellis kicks to Lukosius in a paddock, 60 out. He can roll on. He doesn't. Stops 60 from home. Takes a thought or two, Lukosius, before kicking it to a defender for the opposition. Howard takes the mark. They muck that up, the Suns, and now the Saints through Hill propel from the back line.
Oh, he tries to go straight up the middle. Beautifully picked up on the half volley by Paris, who gave the handball back to Hill. He kicks it just short of centre wing. Not well directed. Not doing well by foot, Brad Hill today, and Lukosius picks it up and drills it. That's how you deliver a pass to Ainsworth. He's going to have a shot, 50 out, but he's standing about 10 metres in from the boundary.
Would have done that last play. He had the forward line to run into. He had blokes one-on-one. Anyway.
Bastille Day during the week. I think the guillotine blade is dangling here for the Saints.
It's
getting very dangerous for them.
Well, I think Ross is safe, but some of the players might not be. Ben Ainsworth from 50. To the top of the square, the big fly from Wanganeen Miller, a front and square Windhager, handball to Burns, and it was into Howard. Extracted it for the Saints, and then Sam Collins cut in front of Mitch Owens and just smacked it across the boundary line almost arrogantly and said, throw it in, boys. I'll jog back to the defensive line.
Yeah, 13 minutes third quarter, 27 the lead for the Locals, and I use that analogy in the sense that it feels like if the Saints are going to make a move, it's now or never, because there's a bit of momentum about the way the Suns are going about it here. Witts wins the clearance on the wing, Grubbers it to half forward, Holman hand pass, too hot for Anderson, he dropped it, but he's able to apply a tackle to see the ball locked up and attacking 50. No opportunity for Burns to clear. He was tackled on the ump comes in. What do you reckon, gents? Are we on that precipice of the contest here? I'll let you think as the ump throws it up. Marshall for the Saints gave it to Burns, hassled by Miller. Burns burst through though, then gets tackled from behind by Flanders holding the ball.
Oh, so Flanders, and they were saying Burns.
Yeah, Burns, Monty Burns from Ned Flanders. That's a Simpsons reference right there. Good tackle.
Burns trying to do his bit, and Flanders indeed too good. Kicks it to full forward. Casbolt crashed the pack, couldn't take the mark, put his knee into Battle's back, he's hurt. Wilkie clears it for the Saints. High kick to the wing. Collins nudges his opponent under the drop. Kamanides no hope there. Won by Collins, given to Flanders, chips it to Ellis on the wing.
Brandon Ellis now, disposal number 21. Just holds it up and gestures towards his teammates. Let's do a bit of running in this direction and that. And then he takes off down the line. Kicks along towards Casbolt in the pocket. Massive pack. Oh, at the back. It's been claimed by big Jared Witts. Plucked it from a sea of hands. Oh. Takes it in the right forward pocket, and the big man's going to have a shot 30 out, but he's on a very tight angle.
Just read it better, the big fellow, all 208 centimetres of him, but is he going to kick it straight or is he going to kick it around the corner? He could probably do both, but this could go anywhere, gents.
Well, let's put it this way. He's gone back to the arc of 50.
He's going to kick it straight.
He's on a very tight angle, standing about 10 metres in from the boundary. He'll shoot from 30. The co-captain, the big slipper goes very left. Casbolt was the target. They've still got a chance at ground level through Holman. He can't pick it up. Slapped away by Hollands, picked up by Ainsworth, tackled into the ground. He loses it. Steele flicked it out. Anderson can get it for the Suns. Wheel around, lowers the eyes, and then kicks it straight to Jack Steele. And he plays for St Kilda, so that's a good thing for the Saints, and he'll repel and go to the right back pocket.
Meanwhile, 54 the margin for Collingwood over Fremantle at the G. Wilkie receives, kicks to Jones, takes the mark, hand passes to Wanganeen Millera, runs the Nerang River wing, kicks it to Peris, can't mark under pressure from McPherson, but he follows up the youngster, keeps it in play. Sharman picks up, hand pass, tunnel balled by Jones. Jones rips Atkins off it without the ball. Play on. Sharman picks up for the Saints. Hands it to Peris. Given to Caminiti. Tackled. Kept it alive. Got a hand pass to Peris. Saints trying to get forward. Hands go to Hill. Kick inside 50. Wood flies. Can't mark. Roved by Butler. Accosted by three Suns defenders. Picked up by Lukosius. He kicks Gold Coast clear of immediate danger to the middle of the ground. No one really there for the Locals. Battle has a fumble, picks up for the Saints, hands it to Jones, hands it to Wanganeen Millera, back down the corridor with a kick to full forward. Andrew in front, got a hand, can't mark. Gresham battles on in the pocket for the Saints, can't gather, tapped out of play. Boundary throw in, right forward pocket for St Kilda, left back pocket for Gold Coast. 16 and a half minutes travelled third term. Locals lead it by 27 points.
The intensity, Pricey. Suns are... I
just felt the voice clicking into fourth gear there, Whitey. You probably heard it.
Yeah, the Saints have lifted their rating, but the Suns have come with them. Throw in shallow, lands at the feet of the ruckman, picked up by Hollands. He's tackled high. He will get a free kick. He's in the left back pocket. In fact, it's Will Powell. He wants to play on and go left down the Nerang River side of the ground, but umpires now told him to play on. He kicks along in the Casbolt direction. Levi with that big body gets his mitt to it. It was a good contest there from young Caminiti. And they took the ball over the boundary line on the Nerang River wing side of the ground. The lights have just kicked in here at Carrara. It's a beautiful day for footy. Not a breath of wind really, but about 15, 16 odd degrees. Beautifully rowed by Hollands. Flicked the handball out to Flanders. He's got a runner in Anderson and another one inside. Miller gathered the handball. Kick inside 50. Oya flew in and dropped the mark. He left it behind, tapped out very cleverly to Ellis. Now to Ainsworth, tackled magnificently there by Mason Wood. 40 out from the Suns' goal. The umpire will ball it up.
Geez, the Saints, they're out on their feet at the moment. There's so many repeat efforts and repeat inside 50s for the Suns.
Wits with the tap, clears the congestion. Miller rose for the Suns. Hand pass to Anderson, breaks the tackle of Steele, shoots on goal, kicks a point to the left. And it returns Gold Coast to their game-high equaling lead of 28 points. 7-7, 49 to 3-3, 21. The Saints just clinging on at Carrara.
This cannot generate those scores. 3-3, 21 for the game as Sinclair. Oh, it's a dangerous kick to centre-half back. Just found his teammate in Stocker. He had closing. Then they flicked the handball out. They've turned it over. Ainsworth, little 9-iron finds Took Miller and dead set. Well, more a sandwich than a 9-iron. It hasn't gone the required distance, but the umpire paid it.
Sinclair was on, and then he looked away and he handballed it.
Miller handballs back to Atkins from 55. Launches a missile for his second. What a kick from Rory Atkins. And the Suns get their 8-7-55. Plays 3-3-21. Game high 34-point margin in favour of the Suns. Zane Bojak's on the boundary.
Yeah, Atkins gets the goal that Noah Anderson should have had a few seconds before. You were mentioning before about St Kilda. Scoring points has been their problem all year, Pricey. They're 15th in the competition. They're traditionally great defence whenever you've got Ross Lyon as a coach, but they just can't score points. So you just wonder if that's going to be their Achilles' heels if they do limp into the finals.
Before our experts, three-quarter time, it's a neat 9 goals the difference. Collingwood, 9 goals, 54 points clear of the Dockers at three-quarter time. Jeff White, Jason Ackerman.
Well, all the repeat entries, they needed to get a goal, didn't they, for their effort, the Suns? But Jesus, the Saints are on the back foot here. They just this intensity. They just got to win the hard ball. They got to win the ball and get it in their possession.
Centre bounce. Casbolt the tap for the Suns. Jones will pick up though for St Kilda. Rushes a tumbling ball to half forward. Butler gathers in. No, that was Clark. My apologies. Gathers and chips it to Sharman. Sharman marks. He's kicked 2 of their 3 goals today, and a chance to make it 3 of 4. Taking the grab 35 metres out.
That was a really good one-on-one from Clark coming on. Obviously not a medical, not even, just a technical sub. Not the quickest bloke, but that was an important one-on-one win. Little chiseler, as the big fella of BT used to say, and that's a good mark. Sharman, can he kick another?
Needs to kick a goal to keep St Kilda close enough. Right foot kick. Beautiful strike. 3 for the lad from the Leighton Whitten Crows. And St Kilda hold tight for the time being. 28 points the lead for Gold Coast at 8-7-55 to 4-3-27. So repeating 9 goals the margin for Collingwood over Fremantle at three-quarter time. Half-time in the league, Brisbane 22, leading Canterbury Bankstown 18.
I've actually played for the Leighton Whitten Crows and won. We won that game.
Who did you play against?
I don't know.
What colours did they wear? I'll tell you who they were.
Some crap team. I don't know. I'll go back in. I'll go and have a look at some photos.
I'm trying to use my Riverina Football League knowledge.
Probably the Bombers. I think they were the Bombers. I played against the Bombers. No, black and...
There are no Bombers in the RFL.
Okay, must have been another one of the 100 games I played.
So we're back into the middle here at Carrara, where it's the Suns versus the Saints. We know that for sure. The clearance, well, that's with the Saints. Mason Wood, tackled into the ground beautifully. Ball dislodged. Suns with another chance. That was Bailey Humphrey, the youngster who laid that tackle as well. The ball's underneath a couple of players, including Took Miller and Jack Steele. A couple of tough nuts as the umpire will come in and ball it up again. Just adjacent to the centre circles this time. Marshall versus Casbolt. Marshall got it down into the arms of Miller immediately, claimed by Steele yet again, and the umpire's going to come back in.
That's what one change with King Net is Casbolt into the ruck a bit more today to give Wits a bit of a chop out.
Casbolt got a beautiful tap down there into the path of Hollands. Handball to Atkins, who's been productive today. Kick into the path of Oyer, uses his pace to burn Winhager off. Good handball through to Hollands. Oyer kept running, but then he couldn't handle the pill. Well done to Mason Wood, who got the handball back to Webster, who kicked it long down the line. The contest was with Collins, and then he's dropped it, picked up there by Owens, who's off to the races, had a bounce. Vacant goal square, no. Umpire says that contest was okay. Ben Long was spoiled and the ball hit the deck. The Suns will get out through Will Powell.
Runs to defensive 50 and kicks it to Oya. Marks on the Nerang River wing, and once again the Suns repel a Saints attacking raid. Ace Oya picks himself up, conservative kick backwards to Atkins, who'll slow things down. At 4 minutes of playing time left in this third quarter, and Gold Coast lead by 28 points.
This is something the Saints haven't been able to do, Q. Get the ball and actually chew up time.
Inboard to Powell, kicks it to Miller, hand passes back to Atkins, who's starting to look a bit productive. It's taken him almost 3 years to be so here at the Suns, as Atkins, as he chips it to Swallow. Swallow chips it back to the Crow, signed on the 5-year deal. Couldn't get in the team for a long time. Kicks it to half forward over the head of Ainsworth, marked by Wanganeen. Miller of the Saints, who will repel from right half back. Kicks it to the wing. Wood the target. Powell has had a great day. Thumps it away from him, out of play. Boundary throw in, true centre wing, Nerang Riverside. 28 the lead to Gold Coast. Zane Bojack on the boundary.
Yeah, for those playing along at home, Acker actually played for the Leeton Witten Crows, wearing the Adelaide Crows outfit. He took on the Ganman Gong Gong Matong in the Riverina League.
That's why I couldn't remember.
No, they're the Ganman Grong Grong Matong Lions.
Yeah, you try saying that after a skinful as well.
No wonder I couldn't remember.
Atkins on the outer side. This is the best game of footy he's played in 4 years, Rory Atkins. Ball spills away from him this time, though. It's picked up there by the Saints, and Owens will get the free kick.
The first ever jersey I had was a Grong Grong Matong Magpies jersey. They merged with the Ganmain Lions. There you go.
There's long kick inside 50 for the Saints. Beautifully spoiled again there by Powell. Picked up by Elijah Hollins. Handball was subterranean towards Ainsworth. He couldn't pick it up. Windhager could. Back to Wanganeen Miller through the hands of Steele. Back to Windhager, tackled as he let loose the ball. It was cut off by Humphrey. The handball to Mac Andrew, and the Suns are out.
Leading by 28 points. Andrew kicks to the wing for King. Wilkie there to make the spoil, illegal spoil against Wilkie. Ben King hasn't done much today. Hasn't kicked a goal, hasn't had a shot, has he? Coming up for his 7th touch. He's on the wing. Kicks to centre half forward. Holman's found a hole. Great kick. Holman marks at 55 out. Will roll on immediately. Kicks down the corridor and it hits the GC. Gold emblem on the pectoral region of the presenting Jack Lukosius.
It was a weak line for King, but the ability to get it and flatten the kick out to get it to Holman and swing around, it just opens up the play so much. We saw that earlier. St Kilda was able to have that same kick around the other side, and Chum was able to kick a goal. So it was a great play there from King. Well identified it, and great running from Holman.
Jack Lukosius, 2 goals today, 29 for the season, straight in front, 40 out, strikes with his right, beautiful kick. And the Suns, in a tumultuous week, they have put a firm investment on an 8th win of the season here. Can they finish it off and stay in the finals race? 9-7-61 leads 4-3-27 in the shadows of three-quarter time.
They've absorbed all the pressure, the Suns, but they've just got players winning their positions across the ground, but then they're using the ball a lot better. But we're seeing here already with Stephen King what he's doing. He's going to put Casbolt in. He's going to get Miller to go forward. He's got guys who can now start to move around and get something out of, because for the last few months it's been a little bit stagnant. Not a lot of throwing the magnets around, but the Suns, their pressure's been supreme.
But also too, like you said, identifying Sinclair as the main architect. He's the quarterback of St Kilda, so putting some time and effort into him as well.
Only the 13 touches for Jack Sinclair. He's been much more productive in the very much metres gained kind of man. 29 disposals on average and 507 metres gains. Nowhere near that today as Zach Jones with the clearance. Handball to Jack Steele inside 50. Collins at front. Rove by Burns who kicked it into the backside of Gresham. It's going to be a free kick coming back anyway to Collins in the marking contest, so the Suns win out anyway. And Sam Collins, tough nut. He's going to kick it to Rory Atkins. And it must say something about Atkins. He signed a massive deal coming up here. Hasn't played much footy at all. This is the best game of footy by a mile he's played since he's been here. And it's after Stewie Jew got the coken.
Long kick from defensive 50 to the wing. Fly off. 90% of the mark from Wood, not paid. Rode by Holman of the Suns. Kick to half forward. King marks it. 55 out. Open goal square in front of him. He kicks deep. That's a terrible kick. Hill tracking back. He wasn't going for goal. Hill was there. Dropped the mark for the Saints. Has time to regather though. Hand passes to Burns in the back pocket. Clearing kick to half back. Gathered by Clark. Took his time. Got tackled by Ballard. Hand pass spills free to Wanganeen Miller. A play on. Hands it to Caminiti. Forward of left half back. Kicks the Saints to half forward. Gresham. Great one-on-one mark against McPherson. Kicks to half forward. Marked by Steele. 40 out. Improves the angle, chipping infield to Wood. Wood marks it and will have a shot from 40 metres out directly in front. Sport is hard and footy's hard with definitives, but it's in that colloquial term of must kick this goal to keep his team in the game,
and
kind of
it's
thing.
right on three-quarter time.
Yeah, close to three-quarter time wide. You get what I'm saying. I'm not talking in definitives, but the siren will all but sound. 34 points is the margin. Wood needs something for the Saints. Right on the knock of three-quarter time. Hits it with his left. Kicks the goal on the siren to keep the Saints' pulse pumping. It's faint, but it lives on that kick from Mason Wood on the three-quarter time siren. 28 points is the margin as we get to the final change. Just the 5th goal of the afternoon for St Kilda and the first for the ex-Roo. Suns 9-7-61 to the Saints 5-3-33. 2 goals for Rory Atkins for Gold Coast. Jack Lukosius also has 2 goals. Singles to Ben Ainsworth, Noah Anderson, Bailey Humphrey and Levi Casbolt. Cooper Sharman has 3 goals for St Kilda, and Matthias Filippo the other, outside of that goal just described by Mason Wood. 9-7-61, 5-3-33 the scoreline. Gold Coast by 19 at quarter time, 22 at half time, and now 28 at three-quarter time. Final terms underway at the MCG. Collingwood lead Fremantle by 47 points. The Magpies 16 goals for 100 to Fremantle's 8-5-53. Second half is underway in the NRL at Belmore. Brisbane 22 lead Canterbury Bankstown 18. Well, I think that's what we needed, just to keep the realistic thoughts of a contest at the front of our mind with half an hour to play. Three-quarter time at Carrara. Shortly it'll be Jeff White and Jason Ackermanis to tell you all about it on Grandstand AFL.
ABC Listen.
The story of stuff the British stole started with artefacts in museums and galleries, but it's spread from a basement in ancient bottles,
the oldest known room in the world.
You have to follow the money, to a manuscript lost between dueling nuclear powers.
We don't know what it is yet.
So it changed everything.
I'm Mark Fennell. Join me for the new season of Stuff the British Stole. You can find it now on the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Off hands, it lands with Rowell. He got the handball back to Atkins to the arc of 50. He pops it to the top of the square. Suns with numbers. Humphrey has a snap. He has it. Oh, the kid is a jet. Have a go with this kid.
Kicks to Sharman. Marks it. 50 from goal. Plays on quickly. Inboard kick is a beauty. Filippo marks on his chest. 25 metres out directly in front.
Which is a beautiful kick from Sinclair, wasn't it, off the half-back line?
Filippo, the youngster from 40 out, good kick on his left. Just what St Kilda needed.
St Bojack's on the boundary.
Yeah, Hunter Clark's been activated by St Kilda. I'm still trying to work out who's been cut. Yeah, it's Filippo. He's put on the bib, and yeah, what a way to do it. Kick a goal and then out of the game you go.
Paperwork would have been lodged before he kicked that goal.
Yeah. That is stiff. That's what the board said about Stewie too.
He's definitely not injured.
Clark gathers and chips it to Sharman. Sharman marks. He's kicked 2 of their 3 goals today and a chance to make it 3 of 4. Needs to kick a goal to keep St Kilda close enough. Right foot kick. Beautiful strike. 3 for the lad from the Leighton Whitten Crows. Holman marks at 55 out. Will roll on immediately. Kicks down the corridor and it hits the GC. Gold emblem on the pectoral region of the presenting Jack Lukosius. strikes with his right. Beautiful kick. And the Suns in a tumultuous week. They have put a firm investment on an 8th win of the season here. Can they finish it off and stay in the finals race?
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
That is indeed one side of the question. The other is, can the Saints fight back from a 28-point three-quarter time deficit? They go to the huddle with a bit of momentum behind the goal from Mason Wood. Welcome back to Carrara on what is a gorgeous winter's afternoon. Quentin Hull and Michael Price describing the action. Jeff White and Jason Ackermanis, your experts. Zane Bojak's close at hand on the boundary. Suns by 28 at three-quarter time. What say you, our learned analysts?
What I want to know, we're just talking off air, Whitey, me and Pricey. Guys like Rory Atkins haven't played for 2 years. It's clearly out of favour with the coach. All of a sudden, the coach changes, comes back in. Flanders doesn't have a contract, hasn't re-signed BOG today. Like, there's something going on. And, you know, there's always a case for the players. There's always 6 or 7 that really dislike any coach. It's probably not that hard. But, you know, you put up with it if you're getting a chance, yada, yada. But that said, the Saints have been disappointed. The heat's got to them. Haven't been able to score. The Suns have been electric with their pressure, and they've made them pay. They're playing some really good footy, and you know, Stephen King, credit us, he's thrown it a bit around, Whitey.
He has, and for the Saints to get back into this, they've got to take some more risks. The pressure has been unbelievable from the Suns from the get-go. I think there's a slight pause on that, if you would say, in the halfway through the second quarter, but that was back on. That quarter was outstanding, and now the Saints would have said at half-time, hey boys, we're 22 points down, let's try and get it under 3 goals, and now it's gone out to 28. So they've got to just take a risk now. They've got to try and use some of that flair. They've got to get Sinclair back in the game. I know they put him in the midfield for a little bit there, but they've got to get their running game cue. They've got to get it going and take some risks to get back in this game.
Amazing point from Acker as well. Flanders, 28 disposals. Atkins, 27 disposals.
There it is right there.
Two guys that have struggled to be a regular fixture under Stuart Dew. Ellis, 22, Powell, 21. Saints led by Wanganeen Millerer with 24, Windhager and Crouch 20, 18 each for Wilkie and Zach Jones. Inside 50, Suns lead that stat by plus 8 clearances. Suns lead it by 12 at 31-19. Here's the final term.
Jared Witts with the clearance. Back to Anderson, looping handball forward to Flanders, into the lead of King, spoiled. Ball hits the deck, Holman. Through traffic, handball back to Ellis from 45. He hooks it around the body. Shepherd on the line from Casbolt is good, but flying across. Good defence came from Philip. It was Sinclair. It was. I should have seen that mullet coming. And punched through.
Billy Ray. Where's Billy Ray?
Came from the Old Town Road to spoil it through for a point. Battle receives in the left back pocket. Kicks the left half back beyond the target whistle. Saints free kick taken advantage. Caminiti picks up, hands it to Butler, kicks it to Gresham, spoiled off it by Long. No, marks paid to Jade Gresham. True centre wing out of side, kicks infield laterally, marks by Windhager, hands it back to Gresham, rolls to 70, kicks inside 50 off the instep. Atkins dropped the mark for the Suns, but regathers, tackled by Butler. Legged.
Leg.
Yep, free kick to Rory Atkins.
That's better from the Saints though, Q. They got a bit of flair, they played on, they did a little bit of 45 running. That's what they need to do. They need more of that.
Signed a 5-year deal. This is game 28 at the Suns. Zane on the boundary.
Yeah, Braden Fiorini's been activated, and the player going off is Asa Waya.
And that's 28 games, getting close to the end of his 3rd year.
Wow.
So thanks for that, Zano, with the news. So Oya out, Fiorini in, as Atkins kicks to right half back and Swallow marks in the pack. What a toiler he has been, David Swallow. It'll almost be like the Robbie Flowers story when Melbourne finally made the finals at the end of his career, if the Suns ever get there and Dave Swallow plays a final.
And it wouldn't be more fitting.
He chips it infield to Elijah. No, that's not Hollands, that's Powell, who's had a good game. Kick to the wing over the head of Anderson. Marshall takes the mark for the Saints. Chance for St Kilda, who need to kick the first couple to be a realistic chance, you'd think. Promotes the ball around the boundary. Wood marks it between wing and left half forward. Mason Wood, very slow to move the football here. Chips it over the man on the mark around the boundary to Windhager. To Taking his time. This is a very measured entry from the Saints. Windhager with his right boot kicks it to the corridor. Intercept Mark Collins of Gold Coast. After all of that, Pricey.
Miserly, Sam Collins. He kicks it out to, well, Oya hasn't been taken off the paddock yet. He's just taken the mark. He chips it back inside defensive 50 to Will Powell. Powell goes across the arc, kicks along towards the wing. Casbolt spoiled. Front and square was Holman and Rao. Rao gathered, then was tackled. They could be holding the ball, actually. It is. It's a great tackle there by Jack Steele, accompanied with Windhager. Windhager awarded the free kick on centre wing. Zeno?
Yeah, I saw the piece of paper they wrote for the officials, but he's not off yet, that's right.
No, the paperwork's been lodged, we said that before. Kicked it to the top of the square. Ballard in the front position, got the ball and ended up flicking it back to Collins. He tried to measure a pass there to Brandon Ellis. We know you're ahead of the game there, Zeno, don't worry about that. The ball's over the boundary line. We're going to throw in where the arc meets the boundary.
Hasn't got outwardly ugly for the Dockers. 42 the current margin at the MCG. Collingwood in front there, but Pendlebury was subbed out tactically for Mitchell, I think just after half time. So that, I think, showed that
pretty handy sub.
That Craig McRae was happy with the way things were going there. The Suns have got the ball from this stoppage at left half back. Anderson trying to weave a path, kicks infield to Flanders. This has been some story. And he's been next door all along. He kicks it towards the middle of the ground. Intercepted by Butler. Butler will play on for the Saints. From 70, kicks to full forward. 3 against Caminiti. Can't mark out the back. Sharman. Hand passes to Jones. Tumbler on goal. Read by Gresham on the goal line. He pokes it through. 23 the difference. The Saints stay in it.
It was an ugly goal. They got it there in the end, but that's all you need, Acco, isn't it? Sometimes just get that easy goal or work through it, get the first one on the board. You never know.
Jade Gresham with his first goal. Numbers for the Saints in the forward line. It's Gold Coast 9-8-62, St Kilda 6-3 39.
Well, it was the turnover right in the middle. Lee Matthews, worst spot. You never want to turn over there, be straight to the bench. But Butler with the turnover. That said, Gresham could have let that roll through. It would have been a goal for Jones. But, when it's not your day, it's just take one off your teammate. Why not just get yourself going? But it could be like Melbourne last night. You keep coming, you give yourself a chance.
I was about to make that analogy. Okay, but this is eerily similar to that game where the Brisbane Lions dominated and then Melbourne just overran them in the last quarter with the intense effort. Now the Saints with the clearance here. Goes out wide to Burns and back to Sinclair. His measured kick is measured incorrectly. Goes to Powell. Powell back into the corridor by hand to Rowell. Rowell towards Casbolt. Fisted forward by Dougal Howard. Roved by Marshall for the Saints. Now through hands. It's with with Brad Hill. He has a bounce. Approaches the wing. Ran a little further than he might have, and the long kick towards absolutely nobody except for Will Powell. He kicked it back into the corridor to Took Miller, and that was just a wasted opportunity, and that's not the first time Hill's done that today. He's wasted his opportunities by foot.
Miller from centre half back, kicks the Suns to half forward. Marshall courageously back with a flight, spoils the pack, wins his own crumb for the Saints. Hands it to Burns, has a bounce to the wing, has a second. Stops, hand passes back infield to Marshall, has a man infield with a hand pass to Sinclair, tried to chip, long, pinched his pocket, and the Suns have it on the wing, kicks to half forward, Ainsworth marks, 55 out, kicks to Lukosius, is the only man within 30 metres of the Sharon as he walks it in and kicks his third. And the Suns burn the Saints on the turnover to return to a 29-point lead. 10-8-68. That's 4, in fact, for Lukosius. My apologies. 4 for Jack Lukosius at 10-8-68 to 6-3-39.
Do you think ex-teammate of Sinclair, Ben Long, just knew what he was up to then with a little chip kick? He read it perfectly through the middle there, and that's been the strength of the Suns today. The ability to get the ball turned over on the wing, through the middle, and then just that slingshot footy open forward line.
Zane on the boundary.
Yeah, 13,015 here to watch the Suns perhaps get a victory under Stephen King. What a shame that there was a full house here 2 weeks ago and they were pretty poor.
Should have sat the coach then. But anyway.
It always happens. It's the sacked coach bounce, as we call it. Back into the middle here at Carrara. Jared Witts versus Rowan Marshall, and Witts doing beautifully. Tap out number 27 for him. Goes to the feet there. Stocker it was who put himself in the middle. He missed his foot with the ball, and now it's just a maul. Umpire's going to come in and separate the several players.
It can't bounce, though. You've got to keep it up.
Well, that's exactly right, Acker. It's all good to deal with the emotion and whatnot, but once this, I suppose, freed up attitude, it gets extended towards the rest of the team. It's got to be good. Long kick from Sinclair now. Comes from the Saints towards half forward. Ben Long read it best. Discarded by the Saints for pick 31 and a future 4th round draft pick. He goes across towards Ellis, spoiled away, rode by Hill, inside 50, and the pass is good, and it finds Caminiti. 45 out, 45 degree to the right. He might as well go back and have a ping, the young man. Tell you what, the Saints haven't actually sprinted inside forward 50 to give him any targets, so they must be confident.
Oh, well, they were on, but he didn't kick it to him. He looked like he's going to just have a shot.
Hill was on, but he didn't want to give it to him.
Don't blame him.
The way Brad Hill's been kicking at the moment, I'd hold on to it myself, to be honest with you. Caminiti, 15 goals, 7 for the year. Good young footballer. Launches it from 50. Oh, that's a beauty. That is a ripping kick from Caminiti. Saints with a pulse. 10-8-68. Play 7-3-45. We're back to a 23-point margin. Only 9 minutes gone to the final term here on Grandstand AFL.
The Saints need to get another goal now. Get the crowd involved. There's a lot of Saints supporters here today, so just
have not kicked back-to-back goals apart from Sharman with the first 2 of the second term. Outside of that, they haven't kicked back-to-back goals, Whitey. Just had a look at that.
So this is the opportunity.
Plenty of time here, and they're looking sharp. They're not giving up, the Saints. It's a good sign. That was a very easy goal for Gold Coast, mind you. But they're working hard and they're taking their shots, and there's nothing more you can do. He's having a really good game, Sharman.
Keeping us in it. Hope you're enjoying it on Grandstand AFL through ABC Sport. Quentin Hull, Michael Price, Jeff White, Jason Ackermanis and Zane Bojack. Centre bounce. Goal kicker's in the ruck now, which squashes him. And, he's called for hatching at Caminiti. Free kick to the Suns co-captain in the bullseye. Which takes a moment, employs that left boot to hoof it into attack for Gold Coast. Holman at the front couldn't mark. King actually spoiled him. Rode by Ainsworth, tried to burst through 3 Saints tacklers, couldn't. Says ball up. Stoppage 45 metres from the Suns' goal. They're attacking the big screen end in this final term. Ball thrown in the air. Witts palms down, but rode by Clark of the Saints. Kicks the ball clear of defence to the wing, but Long's there again. In front of Peris to take the mark. He is making Saints fans rue the new colours. Long from the wing. Kicks Gold Coast back into attack. Howard flies, can't mark. Holman rose, hand passed it into the back of King. He didn't know it was there. It fell in his hands. He had a snap and misses.
No, he hand passed it and it hit the back of his heel and went over his head.
Well,
the Harlan Globetrotters
and then
trick.
if he kicked the goal, it would have been amazing.
It's a point. 4 goals is the difference.
Amazing. Just a piece of skill he didn't even know he had. Now the Saints will move it out. It's with Crouch at left half-back. The handball now to Burns. He's got a runner. That's Sinclair. The flowing mullet. He has a bounce. Runs to the outer wing. The little left foot pass it's okay. It found Mason Wood. He sweeps the handball back to the corridor to Windhager. Now they're going to be moving through Gresham. Chip pass. Goes into the middle. Finds Stocker. He's got a runner now. Gives it off. Now comes back to Clark. Onto the left foot. To the lead. Went through the hands of the Saints forward in Butler. Lands with McPherson. His no-look handball cut off by Hill. Now it's back with Butler. He goes over to Peris. Off a step, the young man's kick was smothered by Ben Long over the boundary line. Throwing everything at them, the Suns, but it's going to Saints, but it's going to be a throw-in in the right forward pocket for them.
Love to see the game in a totally neutral sense if St Kilda kick the next goal.
Yeah.
Next 2 would be really interesting. Boundary throw-in. Crouch rose for St Kilda. Hand pass out the back. Butler tackled by Holman. No prior though. Ball up.
There's that pressure from behind again, Q. It's been outstanding today.
Want to learn a bit about both of these 2 teams. Can the Saints get a roll on? Will the Suns hold firm if the scoreboard gets tight? Fiorini, the injected sub, roves the bounce at left half back, kicks to the wing. King taps it to himself. There's no one in the forward line. Runs to 60. Long kick. How's the bounce? Stops on its end. Rolls back into the field of play 5 metres from the goal mouth. And Burns picks it up for St Kilda. Hand passes to the pocket for Wilkie. Exiting kick. Well gathered on the half, volleyed by Wood. Hands it to Sinclair. Hands it to Burns. The overlap run is there. Has a bounce on the Nerang River side. Once and twice. Left foot kick is a terrible kick. Turned it over, he was buggered and he kicked it straight to the chest of Ballard.
I think all energy spent on the run and the bouncing.
I could have been eloquent with the description, but I think that probably summed it up with economy of words.
Absolutely, summed it up beautifully, Q, as far as I was concerned. Now the Suns, they want to take a bit of sting out of this game, but they'll take a bit of time off the clock. It's with Rory Atkins at right half-back, and he's going to go further out wide to the boundary to find Tuke Miller.
I see. What about that bounce? There was one like that. Was it last night? That never went through.
On the goal line. That was...
That was Joe Danaher. Bounced up to Salem.
Literally pitched in the goal square and bounced back towards the middle.
He had a little bit of backspin on it.
Got to be unlucky. A nice little approach shot as Tuke Miller goes long down the outer side. It's towed out of the pack towards the boundary line. Suns players are looking for deliberate here. I don't know why, but umpire says no, we'll throw it in on the outer side between the wing and right half forward for the Suns. They're leading this one by 24 points. Nearly 14 gone. Final term on Grandstand AFL with Michael Price, Quentin Hull, your experts Jeff White and Jason Akamanitz. Comes through Jared Witts now, taps it down to himself, and then he's tackled by Caminiti. Could have been pinged for holding the ball, the big man, but the umpire gives him the benefit of the doubt. He's going to go to the outer wing and ball it up.
Huge 10 minutes coming up in both of these seasons. Witts with the tap on the wing again. Clark Roves tackled by opposite 11 Miller. Ball falls off his boot, out of play, throw in. Saints 9-7, Suns 7-9. Next 5 games for St Kilda are at Docklands. The next 2 are North and Hawthorn. Gold Coast, they go to Marnica next week to play Greater Western Sydney before hosting the Lions in the next instalment of the Q Clash here. Witts again with the tap down at ruck time. Tapped at boundary side to the advantage of Anderson. Clearance Suns. Kick to half forward. Pitches near the boundary. Wilkie keeps it in. He attacks it. Handballs it around the boundary line, and Fiorini sees it out. Boundary throw in. Left half back for St Kilda. Right half forward for Gold Coast.
Any time left. I tell you, he's been huge this quarter. I've been talking about him all game. Is Sinclair. He's had a big run and carry and kick back end of the quarter. Oh, start of the quarter, I should say.
Throw in, outer side. Rove by Miller, handball back to Elijah Hollins. Off a step, he kicks it inside 50. Flanders in the front position, stole it. Just popped in front, said, I'll take this one. He's marked it on the 50-metre arc, 45 degrees to the right. He's looking around. I don't think he's confident in the distance. He runs to the right of the man on the mark, pops it up into the lead of King. Takes the clunk, Ben King. He's been having a crack, and the Suns give it to his opponent there in Josh Battle. As Big Ben King's going to go back from 30 metres out. Pretty tight angle to the right and have a shot.
Wilkie's fuming too. They had they set it up really well there, the Suns. They bit of a crossover, bit of a block. Wilkie got shifted there with a bit of a block, and away he went. So good kick by Flanders, well set up.
Been a tough day for Ben King. He's accumulated the 10 disposals with 3 inside 50s. He leans back on this one. He's pushed it across the face for only the one behind. So 10-10-70, play 7-3-45. 25 points the margin, 16 gone final term. Saints bring it back in.
Important point, as they say in the classics, beyond 4 goals. Wanganeen Miller at right half-back marks. Transfers to the wing to Owens. Owens marks. And Mitch Owens will now use his right boot to drive a kick to half forward for St Kilda. Andrew! The Suns defender flew, couldn't mark, rode by Crouch. Hands it to Gresham, Saints ball, hands it to Hill, hard on the boundary, great smother Fiorini. Got across his bows to knock it out of play. Boundary throw in right half forward for the Saints.
And it's important he didn't overcommit then too, because there was heaps of space beyond that contest inside forward 50.
From the Suns too, you see Nick Holman's run about 70 metres to get down to Fiorini just to pat him on the back there for that pressure. And that's the kind of stuff that builds your culture for the Gold Coast Suns. 25 points the lead. The throw in across the arc of 50, the tap in taken by Tuke Miller, claimed by Jack Steele immediately. We'll do it all again. Ball it up, 60 out. Crowd buzzing here at Carrara. Casbolt gets it down, and once again, same result. And Crouch, the tackler, on Tuke Miller this time. Third time lucky, same spot. Casbolt and Marshall flogs it towards defensive 50. Picked up by Miller, curls it around the body. Wanganeen Miller, a spoiled Holman at ground level. Ainsworth gathers. His handball cut off by Wanganeen Miller, tapped it into the path of the Suns though. Ainsworth through Anderson. He's going to go 45 degrees into the corridor. The handball to the runner Flanders. He's got Humphrey. He gets around his opponent, but that's a dodgy handball from the youngster. He goes back and fixes his own mess. Handball to McPherson from 45. End of section. The Gold Coast Suns bounce back. After a tumultuous week, 11-10-76. The Saints 7-3-45. 31 points the margin, 18 gone, final term.
McPherson is so happy with himself. He's kicked a great goal. He's done a lap of honour. He's just gone around the whole crowd and got high fives, but so he should. Fantastic run. Not the best build-up with a couple of those handballs, but they got out, they got away with it. St Kilda just couldn't quite get the ball back, and we love that. Great finish. That's what you need.
All set up with that contested footy there too, with Tuke Miller winning that hard contested footy, and then Ainsworth as well, and then the release. If they don't win the footy, then you don't have that run and carry from behind.
Zane?
A lot of lair there from Darcy McPherson with that celebration. All he had to do was put a handstand in there, and you know who he was.
But that was his first goal all year. He's been playing in defence. It's his first goal all year.
No wonder he's happy.
Centre bounce, Marshall with the tap down for the Saints. Hand pass from Crouch to Steele. Still in the congestion, and they're not going to get clear. Stolen by Flanders, who's had a huge day for the Suns. Comes to Miller. Kicks Gold Coast to half forward. Over the head of the contest of Wilkie and King. Wilkie first to meet it on the deck. Tackled by Humphrey. Ball up.
He's harder than a cat's head, Humphrey, isn't he?
Yeah. King's just hurt himself then too.
A young man. Boy.
He's holding his hand.
He caused that turnover for that goal earlier.
Yeah, a good day.
Ball tossed up. Casbolt got the hand, but Crouch does the roving hand pass through. Stocker to Webster. Webster rush kick from the pocket beyond defensive 50. Sharman's got 3 to beat. Ballard makes the spoil. Andrew rose for the Suns but falls over. Jumped on by Sharman holding the ball. No intent from Mac Andrew to get rid of that. So Cooper Sharman, who's kicked 3 goals today, will take the free kick for the Saints. But you sense time's gone for them now. 31 points is the lead to the Suns, approaching 20 minutes final term. Kick wide to the wing. Wanganeen Miller remarks. Kicks it on the head of Wood. Front on contact against Ellis. Free kick. Wood bounces up, plays on, kicks to full forward. Caminiti flew in the front of the pack. I think he got a touch, but Marshall's claiming the lion's share. And the ump's given Marshall the mark. It was a team mark.
Yeah, I reckon
that was controlled by Marshall in the end.
I'd like to see that, although it was pretty funny to see Mason Woods get just the ball hit the top of his scone.
Rowan Marshall, point blank range. No waste of time to slot his first goal of the afternoon. 25 is the difference with 6 minutes left in the game. Not an impossible task, as they say in the classics, but pretty close to it at 11-10-76 to 8-3-51, Zane.
Yeah, there's an important score I think you need to give, Q. Isn't it full time down at the MCG?
Oh, hold on. Zane's ghosting as host. I've got the pay TV feed, so maybe my lag. Oh, there it is. It is full time at the MCG. Collingwood has defeated Fremantle. Magpies 18 goals 5, 113 to Fremantle 10-7, 67. The Magpies flogged him in the first half and coasted to the line in colloquial terms.
They are as good a football team as I've seen in the modern game.
18-5, 113 to 10-7, 67.
Back here at Carrara, it is the Gold Coast Suns by 25 points and the Saints are pressing. Suns go forward of...
One thing I've noticed today too, Price, you can't really teach this, but the ability to get numbers to the ball, but also to keep hitting it on. The Suns have been able to do that a lot today.
Tapping it into space as a secondary ball up happens. It's stolen by Owens, who goes straight through the middle. Handball now to Zach Jones for the St Kilda. Here's a chance from 55. Jones kicks long. Oh, it's through the hands of Caminiti at ground level. The Suns have got it. McPherson tackled by Butler. Could be pinged. No. Umpire will ball it up 15 metres out from the St Kilda goal. They get one here. There might be some life left in the Saints. Umpire's taking his sweet time about it too, just quietly. Clearing the decks. There's no room down there. It's congested as. Picked up. Air swing for the Saints. It's going to be picked up by Fiorini. He's held up and we're going to ball it up 20 out. Every player on the park forward of centre.
5.5 minutes of playing time left. Stoppage in the Saints forward line. Butler tries to burst through, gets tackled ferociously. Anderson it was. Just cannon into him to stop him emerging there. Another ball up, Saints deep in attack. Marshall tangles, doesn't really get a tap. Collins picks up for the Suns. Hand pass to Swallow. Kick is smothered by Gresham. Gresham follows up, could only tow it to the boundary line under pressure from Miller. Out of play, boundary throw in. Gold Coast 11-10, 76. St Kilda 8-3, 51. 23 minutes travelled, final term. If you are just switching across perhaps from the MCG, nice to have you with us. Suns by 19 at quarter time, 22 at half time, 28 at three-quarter time. 25 in front now with a little over 5 minutes playing time. Boundary throw in right half forward for the Saints. Owens Rove snaps hopingly, and it pitches in the chest of Dave Swallow, who marks in the left back pocket for the Suns.
The original Sun.
Sounds like Swallow. A bad in excess cover.
There. Well, that would be the in excess cover band, the original Suns. But it goes back to Tuke Miller now. Shorter centre wing. Long kick towards Wilkie versus King. Wilkie's done a magnificent job today for St Kilda. He's edged the youngster in King, but King does likewise this time. Handball into the corridor. They've got a chance, the Suns, through Anderson. Tackled off it. Clark. Handball to Burns. He burns off his opponents. Has a bounce. He confronts Levi Casbolt and says, "Mimi, around you." Kicks it down the line. Casbolt got frustrated, belted him. And so it's going to be St Kilda free kick downfield to Butler. Butler inside 50 now. Big fly there comes from Caminiti, front and square. Marshall. It was Gresham now. Gathered, handball to Zach Jones. He got rid of the ball to Wanganeen Miller. He's dispossessed. Picked up by Fiorini. Wanganeen Miller tackles him into the ground. It's going to be a ball up 45 out from the Saints goal.
Don't rely too much on these big marking targets. They've got to hit the shorts.
Jason Ackermanis with you as Windhager crashes through the stoppage only to be tackled by Swallow. Another ball up. What have we learned today? What have we learned? Well, the Saints aren't good enough to come here and pinch a valuable 4 points. The Suns perhaps freed up a couple of new contributors with Stephen King coaching. Here's a chance for the Saints. Windhager receives a hand pass from Butler, has a snap at goal, kicks it across the face of goal and out of bounds on the full. It's interpretable as to what we've learned, but as far as the bold statistics will tell us, it'll be Suns 8 and 9, Saints 9 and 8, and both still in the fight. And St Kilda dropping back a little, Suns just staying attached.
And the start that the Saints had to the start of the year as well, you know.
It'll be one win in the last month for St Kilda.
Yeah.
Here's the throw in for the Saints.
Last
Windhager
5 weeks to be
shot.
precise. Sorry, Pricey.
You're right, champion. Clark. He had an air swing. It was picked up by the Suns, extracted towards Casbolt. Off hands, the big man thumps it towards the boundary line. There were half a chance of the goal.
Did you just champ me? I don't think so.
Did I champ you? Did I champ
you said champion.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's okay.
Sorry. It wasn't a reference to a certain champion.
Yeah, he champed you.
Just a general champ. Did I champ him?
Yeah, you champed him.
Oh, I champed him on national radio.
Ball thrown in at right half back for the Suns, who lead it by 25 points. Sinclair picks up for the Saints, kicks inside 50, fly from Sharman, couldn't mark. Wanganeen Miller arrives, hand pass looking for Sharman, too hot for him, stolen by Andrew of the Suns, and they're out. Hand pass through Anderson, went to the deck, Hollins kicks it off the ground, a 50-metre territory gainer to the wing, insufficient intent.
He dropped it, then it was just a
free kick. St Kilda and Wilkie to take it on the outer wing.
That's a 45-metre kick that missed his target by 5 metres. Never mind. Atkins flying, career high game.
Who is this guy and where is Rory Atkins?
Yeah, well, maybe this is the side of Rory Atkins that Stuart Dew wasn't looking at. The fact that it's now 30 disposals, 2 inside 50s, 8 marks, 7 contested possessions and 3 clearances, if you don't mind. Kicked down the outer side, cut off there once again by the Saints defence. They'll get a free kick here through Mitch Owens. He's battled on hard as Owens as he wheels around onto the right foot, kicks it towards centre half forward Marshall. Front was David Swallow, put his body on the line, couldn't quite take the mark. Anderson gathered and he was basically sandwiched by two Saints and buried into the turf here at Carrara. There'll be a ball up at the edge of the centre square.
If this was Joseph in his Technicolor Dreamcoat, the story of the day would be of the forgotten sons. Flanders and Atkins.
The prodigals.
From the stoppage, Gold Coast by 25 points at half-back. Hollands with the clearing kick off the stoppage. Out to the wing, on the deck, picked up by Holman. He dropped it. Holding the ball, Sinclair takes the advantage for the Saints. Hand passes to Crouch, kick to 50 through the hands of Marshall. It ricochets back to him. Hand pass not great. There he is again, Atkins. Winning the ball for Gold Coast. Hand passes to Rowell. Rowell chips to Fiorini. Has a runner off half back. It's Anderson. Receives the hand pass. Kicks to the forward line. Stretching, reaching, controlling. Ainsworth takes the mark 35 metres out.
That was pinpoint accuracy there, that kick from Noah Anderson.
That was Dennis Cometti. Centimetre perfect.
Centimetre perfect.
He had to really stress there. And once he finishes that haircut, I reckon he's going to have another couple of good games here, Ainsworth. Have a look at that.
Ben Ainsworth has already kicked the one goal today. And I don't know about you, Acker and Pricey, but there will be teams in the competition that'll be just a little nervous about what the Suns might do at the back end of this season with a fresh approach. Ainsworth from 40, strikes well, strikes to the left. It's a point. And that's beautiful scoreline of 11-11-77. Plays 8-3-51, 26 the difference.
Saints bring it in quickly. Scrubby kick from Wanganeen Miller up. Made look good by Brad Crouch. His little chip finds Jack Steele. Saints skipper goes long. He's looking for Marshall, well spoiled by McAndrew, but Marshall did well to rove his own ball there. He tumbles it inside 50, gathered by Atkins. He just got rid of Gresham. Handball was good too. Got to Rowell under pressure to Witts to McAndrew. Off a step, the youngster kicks down the line to Casbolt. Front and square was Ellis. Casbolt went back and got it himself, smothered there by Clark. Picked up by Dougal Howard at the feet of Windhager. Now the Saints will go long. Inside 50. Sam Collins. Enter Sam Collins with the Dan Mattingly haircut and takes a beauty in defence to stop the Saints going forward.
Hand passes to Powell. Powell will kick down the wing. Looking for Casbolt. Got a hand. Can't take the mark, but he does his own roving. Tries to rush through a tackle of Windhager and can't. The clock is counting down. A new era dawns for the Suns. Just what it looks like, we're not sure. But it's a king-sized result today for Gold Coast. They've got past the Saints off the back of two losses to the top two teams in the comp, which cost Stuart Dew his job, among other things. The Suns win today over the Saints by 26 points. (11-11-77) beats 8-3-51. Gold Coast is 8-9. St Kilda is 9-8. The Suns go to Manuka next week to play the rejuvenated Giants. The Saints have got their next 5 games at Docklands, starting with North Melbourne next week. Gold Coast led all the way. Saints won the last quarter. 19 at quarter time, 22 at half, 28 at three quarter. 26 the final margin. The Suns sing to victory at Carrara.
We are the sons of the Gold Coast sky. We are one in the red, gold and blue. We are the mighty Gold Coast Suns. We play to win the flag for you. Fight, fight, fight till we hold on the club. Run, run, run all the way. Hey! We are the sons of the Gold Coast sky, where the team will never say die.
Jack Lukosius kicked 4 goals for the Victors. Rory Atkins kicked 2 goals and had 32 disposals in clearly his best game at the back end of his 3rd season for the Suns. On the 5-year deal from Adelaide, many will see this as his best game in the red and the gold.
Happiest bloke on the field right now, I reckon. Him and Ned Flanders.
Ainsworth a goal, Anderson a goal, Humphrey a goal, Casbolt a goal, McPherson a goal. And for the Saints, Cooper Sharman, they're only multiple. He kicked 3. Singles to Gresham, Marshall, Filippo, Wood and Caminiti. Jeff White and Jason Ackermanis to tell you about it. Stick around. We will wrap this game up. If you are with us on ABC Gold Coast, you'll be heading to our Rugby League coverage a little bit later. Late on, Broncos are going to beat the Bulldogs. That's 40 points to 18 there. Collingwood beat Fremantle by 46 points. The Blues and the Power have just started. But Jeff White and Jason Ackermanis, what have we just seen?
Well, we've seen what happens when coaches leave and other coaches say, well, I reckon these guys aren't going so bad. Roy Atkins, arguably him and Ned Flanders are the best two on the ground and have been in the bad books for whatever reason, particularly Rory, 5-year deal. Seeing those players play well is awesome. Tuke Miller going forward. He's thrown some changes. He's put Casbolt in the midfield in the ruck and given the big fella a little bit of rest and Jared Weeks. So St Kilda are there or thereabouts. They're sort of consistently good at giving effort like Ross Lyons teams, but then again, they just can't seem to get that forward thrust going where they can get multiple goal kickers really good in defence. But I'm just so pleased for the guys. There's nothing worse than feeling like you're on the outer with a coach. He goes, all of a sudden, you're back in the frame, you have a game and you play like Rory Atkins did. I mean, it's 3-2-1 would be pretty easy, I would have thought, Whitey.
Yeah, and it's a great end to a pretty tough week. One of the things I noticed, it was on Tuesday when it was announced on Tuesday that he was sacked. I was at my Twins local footy club, and I saw there was Noah Anderson, there was Matt Rao, all down there after such a tough day, still, having a smile, having a joke with the players, with the coach and the kids. And to see what they did today, come out with that flair, that energy, we spoke about it throughout the broadcast, the forward and behind pressure. So when it was going inside the forward line, it looked like it was going inside Saints forward line. There was Holman, there was Ainsworth from behind causing that pressure. So there was no exits. Ross Lyon loves to have, it's a bit of like Kevin Sheedy. You face the goals, I'll hand pass it back to you so I know what's going on. They couldn't get that handball going. They'll get tackled straight away or have to bomb it, and that played in the hands of Powell, Collins, Ballard. Probably, I think Powell took over with his intercept marks tonight than what Ballard normally does. But across the ground, they were able to set up that intensity and force the Saints to play not their brand of footy.
72 tackles for the Gold Coast Saints today.
Amazing. Just the effort. The effort was there.
Yeah,
and that's a mindset, isn't it? Kingy would have just said, shackles are off, boys.
It's one coach used to always say, it doesn't take skill to chase and tackle.
Yeah, but what an indictment. What an indictment when you're a coach and they can't do that. They come out the next week and put in a performance like that.
I find it
very frustrating.
I find it very frustrating and almost maddening when it comes down to that.
And it continues a very alarming trend for St Kilda. Since the bye, they've had wins over Sydney and West Coast. They've lost to Richmond, Brisbane, Melbourne, and now Gold Coast. So they're 2 wins, 4 losses since the bye. 9-8 for the season with, albeit, a couple of, I don't like the term, they will be favourites in the next 2 games. I don't want to use the term winnable games because every game is a winnable game, but they will be favourite in their next 2 because it's against North Melbourne at Docklands and then Hawthorn at Docklands. So, what about the Saints? Where are they?
They have fallen off a cliff. That's what they've done. I mean, the first part of the year was just supreme, the way they defended, their pressure. But, that said, they may just love being at Marvel Stadium.
No King, no Billings, no Ross, no Membry, no Higgins. I mean, Higgins kicked 5 goals when these 2 teams met in round 4. It was a 53-point win for the Saints back in round 4.
And he compliments the forward structure of Butler. They just couldn't keep it inside their forward line today. And that was the strength of the Suns today. When in their forward line, they were able to get it turned over halfway on the wing, back inside forward, and you can see with the stats inside forward 50, but the repeat back and forward inside their forward 50 was outstanding, and then their ability to then trying to defend. There was only a few times we commented on the fact of the Saints trying to have that flow from the half back line, and I think that's what Acker picked up on. The work they did on Sinclair.
Yeah, they
100%.
did that beautifully. But again, they didn't. You also, both of you alluded to the fact they were dumping it on the big forwards' heads and not changing the angles into the forward line. That was highlighted by the fact they went inside 50 49 times and only generated 13 shots. So they operated at 27%, which is extremely low. Whereas the Suns, 26 shots from 52 inside 50s.
Yeah,
so they're 50%, which is higher than the AFL average. So that's where they fell down. But again, you get Max King back in, you get a Membry, you get a Billings at their feet, you get a Higgins at their feet. It's a different complexion, but you've got to go with what you've got. And some of those younger players, your Caminidis of the world, Sharman, they've got some good talent, and Sharman showed something, but that was a big ask up against the likes of Collins and Ballard.
Beneath us, Tuke Miller is leading the Gold Coast Suns off the field. A lot of the fans have stuck around to cheer them off. The obligatory on-field interviews, and Zane Bojack is going to be in the rooms. I see Mark Evans is at the top of the race as well. The Chief Executive Officer is there. Zano, we'll get you to call him in because it's been a big week for the Suns and they get the 4 points at home.
Yeah, Tuke Miller's a very happy man, as is Jared Witts, the two co-captains. They've been the stability when they've had all this tumultuous stuff happening throughout the week. There's a lot of happy faces in here, not just the fans outside, the fans inside the rooms as well, Q. They're clapping them, they're cheering for them. The reserve grade side here for the VFL side for the Suns is here as well. They're getting into a huddle. And here we go.
They're not just going through the motions with that song, Q. That's some passion in there.
Stay close, Zane. We'll be back with you in just a moment. Zane Bojack down in the Gold Coast rooms after a 26-point victory over St Kilda. 11-11, 77 beats 8-3-51. Earlier at the MCG, Collingwood defeated Fremantle by 46 points. The Magpies 18 goals, 5-113 to the Dockers 10-7-67. The Blues and the Power have just got underway. A call available through the ABC Listen app, wherever you are. Carlton 2-4-16, lead Port Adelaide yet to score.
And Silvani's kicked the first 2 goals. You wouldn't pick that.
Has he?
He has.
And
talk about a bloke who in and out of the side.
Oh,
please.
Just they can't find a role for him. But
Heart and soul.
He just,
just hit full-time at Belmore.
Unbelievable.
The Brisbane Broncos have defeated the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs by 44 points to 24. Broncos 44, Bulldogs 24. If you're with us on ABC Gold Coast, heading back to the league coverage in about 20 minutes or so. Manly versus North Queensland, followed by the Roosters and Melbourne, your fare on this Saturday night, where the Wallabies are also playing a test match against Argentina. Finals at Wimbledon as well begin in the women's singles, but we'll be back in the rooms with Zane in a moment and pick up an interview. There's Flanders 33 possessions, Atkins 32, Powell 26, Miller 25, Anderson 25. That's the leading 5 for Gold Coast. Wangadeen Miller led the way for the Saints along with Brad Crouch, both having 28. Windhager 27, Sinclair 23, Steele and Wilkie 22. Inside 50s, only +4 the difference in the end in favour of Gold Coast at 52 to 48. Pricey mentioned the tackles, 24 more for the Suns at 72 to 58. Clearances, Gold Coast 40, St Kilda 27. More tackles, more clearances, more inside 50s. You're not losing a game of footy with those numbers.
Well, everything, and that's why they won. And they, it's just such a strange week, I know. Anyway, they played well. They deserved the win. Saints have got a bit of work to do, albeit many men down, but that's footy.
Let's get into the Suns' room. Zane Bojack.
Yeah, we're down here with a man who, well, what a game he had. 2 goals, 30-plus possessions. It's been a sort of stop-start season for you, Rory Atkins, but is that the best you've played in a Gold Coast Suns jersey?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Interrupted season. Thought I got going when I got back into the team a couple of weeks back, and then found myself to the sub. Found my way back in the last 2 weeks, and just building nicely.
Am I fair in saying there was a fair bit of faith in you from the new coach and Stephen King?
Oh, I wouldn't say any more than the old coach. So, yeah, I feel quite backed by the coaching group and the staff that have been here since I've been at the club. So, I wouldn't say anything's been changed. It was one of those days that just everything lined up, mate. Like trying week for the footy club, just go out and play, boys. So I feel like we did that, and I managed to get on the end of a few today.
Only 2 training sessions for Stephen King. Did he do much to change things up?
No, mate. To Kingy's credit, difficult position to be in. He's stepped up. Obviously, trying circumstances for the club and him. He did a great job during the week just to settle us. Obviously, in a tough position for the footy club, and he did a great job this week.
All right, I'll pass you up. We've got Jeff White. We've also got Jason Ackermanis, Quentin Hull, and Michael Price.
Rory, it's Quentin Hull here. Great to have a chat to you, and we haven't really had a chat, haven't had this opportunity, but here's the broad-ranging question as you get to the end of your 3rd year here, and that's your 28th game for the club. How would you sum up your Gold Coast journey so far?
Struggling to find words at the minute. Everyone's got a story, mate, and I haven't been able to do too many pre-seasons here for different reasons, and I managed to get one in this year, and took a while to get the trust back from the coaching group here, but they've backed me in this season. I feel like I'm getting going for them, so it doesn't really give you one word, but I feel like I'm just getting going for them now, which is good, and I'm happy.
How pleasing is it to now be doing a post-game interview after having led the disposals count, or almost? I think Sam Flanders beat you by 1, but you've kicked a couple. Long term, you're expected to be one of those senior guys to help bring the club forward, and you've been able to do that today at least.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. Mate, it's just great to play in a win like this after a trying week for the club and play my role, if not a little bit more. So, you'll get the cliche, mate, but sorry, it's not about me. A big week for the footy club, and we've got to reassess this week.
Is that tired, or is that a bit of emotion there, Rory?
No, my voice, I got hit in the throat last week, and yelling at A doesn't help the voice.
I was going to say, I didn't know whether I needed to comfort you on the couch of victory there for a moment.
No, I'm right. You can if you want. A bit later, crack open a couple of stubbies if you want.
I'll let Acker and Whitey have a go.
Unfortunately, Rory's got to go. I'm really sorry about that.
I want to say, well done, Rory.
Thanks,
mate.
lads.
Great game, mate.
Thanks. Maybe get me on when I have a quiet one, boys, not just when I have 30. Thanks,
never how it works.
See ya.
You dominate.
Well, stay close to Zane. We might obviously get something else from the rooms. So what we got out of that, his body hasn't been right for a while, and so a combination of one, his body's not right, and perhaps a change of front man has helped.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, and you don't want to go to the obvious story in the footy media. I mean, we're a part of it, and everyone, the hyperbole, blah, blah, blah. It's never as big or as small as you want to make it out to be. But there's certainly, he gave us a little bit of the insight there.
Yeah, but he also said that he hasn't been able to do pre-seasons. Now, up here, it's like, there's nothing like having a good pre-season while you get yourself going. You have a couple of pre-season games, and you're up for it. You're ready, you're durable, you've got the base. And so for him, it would have been terribly frustrating. That said, 5 years, that's a big commitment to a Gold Coast Suns team that hadn't played finals, coming from Adelaide, where it's cold in the winter. Oh, it's been unlucky, so it's good to see him back in form.
Well, 3 years ago, it was very difficult to retain. That was when the people were leaving and they were trying to get people in, so they're paying a little bit of overs.
He's on an overs contract for a club that had too many kids.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Yeah,
and
that's not his fault.
I mean, exactly. You take what you can get.
But 100%.
I'm sure he'd be happy, and the fans would be happy if that's the kind of contribution they're going to get in the back half of it.
Well, like that,
we're just gone to the other side of halfway through that 5-year deal for Rory Atkins.
Well, look, the timing is interesting.
28 games up to this point.
Yeah. And your timing's interesting. This is your best game by a street.
Yeah,
I loved how humble he was. It's not about me. I've had my challenges, and that's where the mental side and the mental toughness comes through. And you don't have a performance like that today if you hadn't gone through a few downs to actually give you a chance to be out there. Go through that a bit of adversity and He played exceptional today. And then you bring in Flanders as well.
Can I ask a question of you two players? The little things that I saw today, am I imagining the extra run of 10 metres to run up and congratulate a teammate? Am I imagining the extra effort to put in to be assistance to your teammate without even hope of getting a stat? There seemed to be that intangible, that intent, the desire, the want, whatever you want to call it, that was different today.
Perhaps. But it's always going to happen. I was just going to say, the other thing I noticed, not only are they doing a couple of little things differently with their positional stuff, but they're getting more of the ball. So they're sharing it more. So it seems to be, it's a double-fold thing. You get the coach goes, you come on the field, and all of a sudden they're bringing everyone into it. And I think that's a good sign for them.
Back to Zano.
Yeah, I've got Brandon Ellis here with me. You've just been into a meeting with Stephen King. What was his message, Brandon?
He was just very proud of us, proud of our effort. What was a bloody tough week for the club. He just said how proud he was and how we just stuck to the game plan today and how we just played for each other.
Now, I want to ask you, you were at a club where they stuck fat with the coach and he rewarded them with premierships. What's it been like for you watching this whole Stuart Jude issue play out?
Oh yeah, look, it's hard for me to comment on it, but I just really do feel for Dewey, as an individual. At the end of the day, he's a human being. He's a great human being, and this is just AFL footy. It's such a brutal industry, these things unfortunately happen. But we all still really care for Dewey as a person and as a human.
Is it unfair to say it was coach bounce today? Was there more factors at play for why you guys beat St Kilda?
Oh no, I think we just really simplified everything today. Can you just let us play to our strengths and just go out there and have fun? And you could see that we were really playing for each other today. And just glad to get back on the winners list.
What about Jack Lukosius? He's so lethal out there, isn't he? There's no point in the field where he can take the ball and you don't think he's going to kick one.
I know. Yeah, I think Luko's really found his position down forward. He's been trialled half back, wing. The last couple of years, but they stuck fat with him during the pre-season playing forward, and he's having such an amazing year. Couldn't be more proud of him.
All right, well we're going upstairs and we've got Quentin Hull, Michael Price, Jason Ackermanis and Jeff White.
Brandon, Jeff White here, mate. Well played today.
Thanks.
Just your tackle count. I think Pricey said it was that a I know you only had Kingy for a couple of training sessions. It's been there all year, but was that a bit of a focus on the tackle count today? Because you stuck a lot of tackles today. Your pressure was outstanding.
Yeah, we did. And, that's just one thing that teams can't control. They can't control our defence and our tackle pressure. We just tried to go out there and bring that. And, as I said, just play for each other. Just go in, smash in, have a crack, and whatever happens, happens. They sort of played into our hands a little bit in the first quarter of the Saints. They were just trying to handball chain and we just kept coming forward and intercepting, but then they did change their plan a little bit, tried to kick and mark, and it worked a little bit, but then we just adapted really well to the game, so couldn't be more proud of the boys.
And then one thing I just still want to say, I didn't call 4 when I nearly hit you on the 10th tee at Royal Pines last week, and you found my ball, so well, thanks for finding my ball, and sorry I didn't call 4.
It was stuck up against a tree, but I seen you pick it up and throw it out when no one was looking.
I just want to apologise for not calling 4.
I'd be terminated for that one. Brandon, Jason Ackermanis here, mate. A great game. Now, what I just wanted to ask you, you look like you're up against Stephen Hill. You're both exceptionally gifted endurance-wise. You probably didn't go anywhere near each other, mind you. Was it a game of, well, you go play that side, I'll play this side. Let's see who wins. Because I thought your defensive pressure was a little bit better than his, but your offense at times was very lethal from both of you.
Yeah, look, me and Hilly have had some great battles over the years. We played against each other for 12 years, so sort of just lined up on each other at the start of the game, shook each other's hand and said, see you at the end. That's how most wingers work, don't we?
Brandon, it's Quentin Hull here. I know that the focus has been everywhere but this week, but in the end, you've won a game of footy which keeps you in the fight.
Yeah, it does.
What's the belief about this group, of what you can achieve at the back end of this year? Because it's all been about, you weren't up to the top 2 teams in the comp the last couple of weeks. Yeah. Coach is gone, but you played someone who's in a similar pot to you, dare I say it. Today, you've got past them and you're still in the fight.
Yeah, we definitely are, and Kingy did address that at sort of midweek when we had our main training session that, look, there's still 7 games to go. If we can win just say 5 or 6 of them, then it does put us in finals contention. But old cliche, just 1 week at a time. And we've got a tough game against the Giants next week in Canberra. So we're looking forward to that.
Thanks for your time, Brandon. Well played today.
Thanks, guys. Hey, Whitey, tell your son well done on All Australian as well.
Oh, we haven't addressed
thanks,
that
Brandon.
yet, but well done.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate that.
Leading us into a part of the broadcast as well. Yes, Kalani White, who was in the room.
Brandon Ellis, professional.
He was. So we've got the golfing etiquette as well as indeed, congratulations to Kalani, under 16 All Australian, and in the rooms with Max Gawn last night too.
Yeah,
saw that on the AFL Twitter feed. So
everybody was saying, "Who's the guy next to Kalani?"
Thanks, Pricey.
We're getting old when all your mates' sons are starting to play well, and you got Ashcroft.
I know.
Yeah. What was the Jazzcroft was the buzz line last night when we had Fletcher and Ashcroft kicking a goal.
But we were just talking about Pricey about the father-son thing. That's just a wonderful thing in the AFL. Wonderful.
It's one of the great heritage things the AFL must keep and not alter.
2 minutes before we wrap things up here. Suns have won by 26. Magpies won by 46. Broncos beat the Dogs 44-24 in the NRL. Blues 3-5-23 over Port 2-2-14 early on here. Votes, please.
Right, I'm going to give you 3 because I just thought he was. Who took all the intercept marks? Because it was a battle between the two. Powell. It was Powell. I was going to say, I thought Powell was fantastic.
He was.
And he just, because he was doing it all day, and they just supreme back there. They had a couple back there. Who was the other one?
Ballard.
But
he didn't have as many today. It was more so Powell.
More Powell. So 3 votes for 1 vote for him, Powell.
For Powell, yep.
A 1 for Powell.
One for Powell.
1 for Powell. Sorry.
Yeah, he was getting there.
Sorry. Two votes, pretty simple because these two you could fight it out. I just thought the way Rory played today, Rory Atkins, wonderful. And the 3 votes, how could you go away from the great Ned Flanders? Sam Flanders, he was awesome, played well. And you got Ellis, who's played awesome. You put another 6 blokes in there. It's pretty hard, but I think those 3, you need all of those parts working well, and those guys played just a little bit better.
Not a Rowell, not a Miller. Not a Swallow, not a
Anders,
King or an Anderson or a Lacoste. Hold on. 3 to Flanders, 2 to Atkins, 1 to Powell. Yep. And you haven't had to reach there. Yep. It shows that's one thing that has changed this week. There's been a couple of guys released to show us some of their better footy. Suns are 8 and 9, Saints are 9 and 8. After Gold Coast beat St Kilda by 26 points. If you're with us on the Gold Coast, you'll hear the highlights and then go to rugby league coverage through News Radio. You're about to head back to Network. Thanks to our team here. Thanks to Mitch and Jenny back in the studio. Here are the highlights as the Suns win it, and your Saturday of sport is about to continue.
So Matt Rowell plays on immediately. The handball back to Swallow. Long kick towards the top of the square. Oh, big pack and a big fly, Lukosius. What a clunk in the left forward pocket. He'll have a shot. He's going to curl it around with the right foot. He squeezed it in. He's opened the scoring for the Suns against the Saints. And the lead up was from Cooper Sharman. He hit him 45 out, 45-degree angle to the left, and the young man will have another ping.
Yeah, well, it's like Sharmo's having a good game. He is clunking them everywhere.
Cooper Sharman, the 22-year-old. With a little bit of breeze behind him, as Acker said, leans back on it. That's a nice strike. That's the Saints' first goal and gets the crowd involved here at Carrara. From the ruck contest forward, Oya showing some pace, the Papua New Guinean, and some vision too. Got the handball there to Anderson back inboard. Will Powell ran forward, kicked it inside 50. Lukosius took it on the chest. So Jack Lukosius, he opened the scoring from 50 from a tight angle. It's got the distance. It's an arrow from Jack Lukosius. Rory Atkins went to go inboard. It was semi-smothered offhands. It lands with Rowell. He got the handball back to Atkins to the arc of 50. He pops it to the top of the square. Suns with numbers. Humphrey has a snap. He has it. Oh, the kid is a jet. Have a go at this kid in his first year of football. Bailey Humphrey. Boy, he's got a highlight reel already.
Holman marks at 55 out. Will roll on immediately. Kicks down the corridor and it hits the GC. Gold emblem on the pectoral region of the presenting Jack Lukosius. Strikes with his right. Beautiful kick. And the Suns in a tumultuous week. They have put a firm investment on an 8th win of the season here. Can they finish it off and stay in the finals race? Steele, 40 out, improves the angle, chipping infield to Wood. 34 points is the margin. Wood needs something for the Saints. Right on the knock of three-quarter time. Hits it with his left. Kicks. The goal on the siren to keep the Saints' pulse pumping. And the Suns have it on the wing. Kicks to half forward. Ainsworth marks 55 out. Kicks to Lukosius. Is the only man within 30 metres of the Sharon as he walks it in. The clock is counting down. A new era dawns for the Suns. Just what it looks like, we're not sure. But it's a king-sized result today for Gold Coast. They've got past the Saints off the back of two losses to the top two teams in the comp, which cost Stuart Dew his job, among other things. The Suns win today over the Saints by 26 points.